going on, what's kind of changing, maybe what we're looking forward to, and some stuff we've seen in herpetoculture lately, kind of thing. Just kind of having a good chit chat tonight. So yeah, how are you guys doing?
Life is good, man. Life is good. How about you, Shan?
Doing good. Yeah, it's pretty
Nice.
good. Much better than I have been in the last little bit. Health-wise, I caught that flu bug that everybody had there. So, apart from that, everything's pretty good. Things are starting to happen over here. Got my first clutch of eggs today, so pretty happy.
There you go. Yeah, I woke up to the Bahama boas being locked up today again, so it's like, okay, so they're kind of doing stuff now, so we'll see kind of how that goes. Because I think she's like building a little bit, like she just looks a little thicker. Like I gave her a couple chicks last week, but nothing that's gonna like make her like kind of like bulge out kind of thing. So we'll see. She's also probably like a little fat too, just from not having babies and being fed kind of thing over the last few years. But we'll see. I'll keep an eye on them. Like they're separated now, but yeah.
You showed me the picture. I was a little surprised. Like it really looked like that snake was like coiling a rat, but it was coiling another snake.
Oh yeah,
it was quite impressive, actually.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure Shan's seen it with the rainbows where the males like kind of
absolutely
wrap around.
Yeah. That famous lock. Cool. Yeah, it's a pretty famous lock with boas. I find I've seen it with the boas.
Yeah, especially like I think the most famous is like the anacondas and how like you'll get like multiple male anacondas kind of wrapping around the female like that. Although with anacondas they end up like eating the males sometimes. So gotta love those big snakes.
Very nice. Let's go one by one. Let's talk about what's new with us, what's going on with our collection. Mike, you want to start?
Yeah.
You were going to take a drink there, right?
You know what? You're about to take a drink.
Mike, have your drink. Shan, why don't you talk to us about what's going on in your collection,
right.
The eggs, all that kind of shit. You started off.
Okay, so today I got the German line female. I call her Agent number 9. She was paired up to Bonnie's one of Bonnie's babies that I kept back from 2023. So he's a hatchling from 2023, and so far so good. 14 good eggs, no slugs, but she looks like a deflated balloon, like so bad. It looks really bad. So yeah, she'll be fine, but they all look like that. But so that's the one I'm really waiting for. Bonnie hasn't been eating, so she's my kind of original girl that puts out babies, original mother. She's doing that coil up, so see what happens there. I'm not sure yet. Looking good though. I also have the spotted. Hasn't eaten at all, and now this week I saw her and she's like on her back and everything, so very very excited about that. That's
the dead looking
almost guaranteed there, right? So I was pretty happy about that, right? All the other stuff, this weekend I took everything apart from each other, and I fed, and today I started putting things back together. That I needed to. So I still have Nugget, which is Bonnie's sister that I got from Dom. She ate. I also have another girl, Jungle Girl, that I kept back. She's just a straight ocelot. She's kind of like ocelot stripe. I've shown her before. She's really bright colors. She's also 2023 and the brother of the male that possibly produced, did the eggs there for the German line. I don't know if she's going to go yet. So just basically the cat. Hey? So yeah, basically waiting on all them. They all ate. The ivory, same thing there. I fed that. See what happens. I'm just waiting for ovulations with all that. Same thing with the warma. I fed her on the weekend. She ate. So we'll just keep pairing them up and see what happens. Those are pretty much what I'm waiting for. Oh, and the xanthic. So the the eggs that Dom posted. So I still have the male. So originally I had the female here, and he got that girl gravid, and basically you took the female back. I still have the male, and I'm trying to prove out a xanthic 66% het for granite female. See what happens. She just shedded yesterday, but she ate also. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe she's just cycling through. It's still early. I'm still pairing. So see what happens.
Yeah, the season is just begun.
and that's only in my regular room. My cold room, like I just pretty much a week and a half ago brought the temperature back up to normal, started feeding everybody, and I just started pairing. I haven't seen nothing, so I'm just gonna go with it. I still got tons of time there. I remember last year I didn't get any locks till like almost May. So
Demon kitty.
Come on, how cute is she? That's all I gotta say. So going back to Shan's pairing. So the funny thing is that Shan paired my male with my female at his house, because the only way I was letting him take my male, that is a male that's proven to be xanthic head granite, so he produced marbles 2 years in a row with another girl, was I'm like, well, I need to pair him up with my girls. And all that. I'm like, well, if you're taking my male, you got to take my female, because I need to prove her out. So he ended up stealing 2 of my snakes. So my first eggs are in part a thank you to Shan. He bred my male to my female at his house only because he needed to borrow my male. So I don't know. I took her back.
So do I get to count some of those eggs as mine?
No, because they were born at my house at this point.
Okay.
I need to have a competition with Shan. We always compete on how many eggs we have, and I wanted her back, but she's my female. You have way more females than me, so
that's all.
I needed her back.
Yeah, it's the funny thing. We always have this competition, or we've had this competition the last few years of who can get the first eggs on the ground, or who can have the most eggs, and we always joke around. It's always just
the joke is I actually don't know who got the first eggs on the ground today, right? Because this morning I sent Shan a picture. I'm like, I finally have eggs, and he's like, oh, you're so lucky in that. And then he sends me a picture of a girl that's completely done laying. I'm like, fuck. Now I don't know who actually got him first, right? Because I was showing you a picture of a girl laying. You showed me a picture of a girl that was done laying. So really, I don't know. I don't know who won, but so I have basically a similar pairing to Shan that he's talking about. The male is an xanthic. No, he's a granite, right? Male, yeah. So the male's granite, het xanthic, and he's proven. So pure Papuan carpet pythons, and he bred to another girl last year that has proven out the same kind of genetics. And this year I was pairing her up to another granite that is 66% het xanthic. So the hope is that she proves out as het xanthic, and now I have even more that can produce marbles. But I'm at the point where I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure how many more of these pairings I'm going to do, because I've produced now 4 xanthic granites. So Shan, I gave you a male, right? Or did I give you a female? Not sure.
Of what?
Xanthic granite. Is yours a male?
Oh, so it's a male.
Okay. So I gave Shan 1 male from last year. I kept back 1 male from last year. So last year I produced 2 males. And 2 years ago I produced 2 females. So my 2 females are now 2 years old. my male is now 1 year old. So technically, as of next year, I could start pairing, or at least see if they're willing to go. And I mean, at one point when you're starting to produce visual to visual, you really, well, you know, the odds of producing the other ones are much lower. So I'm not sure how many more of those pairings I'm going to do. But yeah, I'm happy. First eggs on the ground. She laid 13 eggs. 12 were fertile pearly whites, and 1 was a nice little tiny slug. So as of right now, I am losing the competition against Shan. He's up on me by 2 eggs. Last year, Shan kicked my ass. I don't know if you guys know how many eggs he had last year. I think you were at around 150, give or take, if you count all your king snakes and everything else.
163 with everything, slugs included and everything.
Oh, you don't count slugs, man. Come on, that doesn't count.
All right.
How many
So
fertiles?
It was probably, I think it was around 150 something. Because I had a really bad clutch. Remember the first clutch? I had 21 eggs. It was gone.
Yeah, to me that's just garbage. That's just bad luck. But it's still pretty damn impressive. I think he's produced more. I think that was the first year you beat me, and you beat all my records, because I think the most I've ever had was around 145 ish, which I promised I would never ever do that again, because it was way too much.
Never doing that again. Yeah, no. Good experience. Never going to do it again. Fortunately, I was able to get rid of most of my stuff, so might have 10 snakes left, so it's not too bad. I'm okay with that.
It's not bad at all.
What do you got left that's ready to go?
2 super zebra males. They're pretty nice. 2 different, like one's a little darker, one's a little lighter. Both really spicy. I have a few brettle males that are good. They're starting to eat really well now. They were hard to get going. I sold most of the ones that went right away, and then I had some trouble feeders. I remember back, I kept saying that those were the worst things to feed.
Are those just normal brettles, or are they like stripes or hypos or stone?
So they're all het for stripe, but they don't have a look of a stripe at all. There was only 2 in their clutch that were really heavily striped. Actually, the one I kept back is really cool. It's got like silver on the side. It's different. I don't know. I just think it's light color.
That'll be pretty cool. I think Bredli could be. They can still have a lot done to them, kind of thing. They're still fairly underrated, but hey, if people want to buy Morelia, it's always good to have the nice pure stuff out there to kind of give people the option, kind of thing, right? Like I think most people at shows are just looking if they're looking for a carpet, they're looking for a carpet. So as long as we can, as long as you two keep doing your thing, the more pure stuff's out there for the general public to kind of get into them, right? Instead of the other stuff.
Exactly. I think that the Brettles, if it really hits the market in Canada and the expos, it could change things for carpet pythons. I don't know. Maybe if I'm right or wrong, it could be like we're seeing mutts all the time. I'm sorry to say, guys, but we all, right? Nobody's denying it here. Everything you see at expos, it's a mutt or a het albino here and there, but there's nothing saying this is like a jungle or a coastal anywhere.
People aren't putting the effort into producing like healthy, I shouldn't say healthy, I should say pure animals. And like you'll notice, like look in the next, let's say month and a half, the clutches that are going to be born in Canada. Look at everything that's going to be born that's going to be a carpet python. If you eliminate Shan and I don't know if there'll be one pure clutch of any type of carpet python born in Canada. There might be,
I
But
think there's a handful.
there won't
but,
be.
but
There won't be
it's-
many. I'm
it's
telling you, there.
one or two here and there kind of thing.
So there might be. I don't know if Don still breeds his German line jungles. I think
I think
still
he does. He
So
still does.
so
That's
there's going to
about
be
the only
that.
thing that he.
That's the only thing that's pure from him. When you're talking about carpet, except for that, like I hear sometimes of people getting 1 or 2 clutches of Bredli. Bredli seems to be the one type of carpet that people don't mix as often, right? So that one I think, but
Yeah.
other ones I don't know, man. I have yet to see one this year that is pure that's been born that is not from either of us two. So I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I bet you there's less than 5 in all of Canada by the end of the year that's pure if we exclude the one from Don and let's say Bredli. I don't think
But
there's going to be.
Let's make gelatins the number one carpet.
There
I
you
would, I would love that. Truthfully, you know, I don't know why they
They're-
haven't taken off,
they-
and maybe they
phen-
will
they're
eventually.
phenomenal.
So
Yeah,
so
but the thing I'm showing you guys is the top of the line gelatin, right? With the stripe, the one I'm keeping back, right? The other ones, they're still really nice.
But the
don't
other
get
ones are
me
really
wrong.
nice too, right? Like
They are,
yours is
they are.
phenomenal, but like even the other ones, like I
So-
like that
Yeah.
green almost that's kind of coming up the
so
side.
Shan, I showed Michael the pictures of the gelatins I got from you 2 years ago. That's brothers and sisters to the one you post all the time. The only reason yours look nicer is because they're out of a cage, under a light, and really perfect. Mine are in really shitty lighting condition and taken from
Yeah.
my phone
But
and
you
on a
can
bad
still-
angle.
You can still
And
tell.
They
that
look
they're- that they're gonna
identical.
Look the same.
What I'm telling you is they
believe
look
you.
identical as you. They
I
like
know.
I think your whole clutch is turning out to be insane. Like
Mhm.
Mike, should we tell him what we've talked about this morning, or what do you think? So
Yeah, sure.
okay, so Shan, I might need to either get a pair of spotteds from you, or possibly are the pygmies gone? Did you sell off all the pygmies?
Yeah, they're going away this week.
Okay, if
Yeah.
that falls through, we might need them. So Mike and I were talking this morning, and I think I've made a deal.
Okay.
And you go for it, Mike. You tell him what's the deal. But anyway, I might need some spotteds from you.
well, he dangled some gelatins, and the inlands are tempting, but I'm definitely gonna take those gelatins because those I need some sort of Morelia. My co-hosts all have Morelia, so I should at least have one pair of Morelia, right?
So what do you think I'm
So-
getting in return, Shan?
The one thing I have that Dom would actually want.
Let's see if he can get it. Take a stab. Do you think I'm getting pine snakes? You think I'm getting turtles? Maybe newts? What do you think it would be?
Yeah, he's getting
I'm
a
like-
shitload of newts.
I'm stunned. I'm like, I don't know. Could it be a pine snake?
What the fuck do you want me to do with a pine snake?
But
Well,
why
you do
would
say you like
trade
bull
that-
snakes,
Why
so-
would
I
he
do like
trade-
bull snakes. You're right.
I
Actually.
know, but why would he trade that many snakes? See, I'm that smart that I would figure that out. This is a big trade here. I don't know. What do you get? Do you have blackheads, or do you have like?
I wish.
do you
No
have
blackheads?
Do you have ring pythons? Is that?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I've been wanting ring pythons.
So you remember that he got that pair of rings from Cody Joe?
No. Yeah. Babies, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so we've settled the trade that's a little bit unofficial as to what exactly he's getting from me, but it might be either pygmies from this year, either a pair of spotteds and the pair of gelatins that I got from you that are the partial striped, because I ended up switching everything up with you to have 2 fully striped. So I don't want 2.2s. I just want 1.1 of gelatins. So now that it's on the air, Mike can't take it back. So I'm getting freaking rings, which I'm pretty happy about.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're I think you'll like them. They're doing really good for me, so they should go fit right in there, kind of thing. I just Shan will tell you how to keep rainbows, and it's about the same thing.
I've tried the rainbows from Shan's bred so many rainbows over the time that I've tried bringing them to my house. I've raised them up for 2-3 years, and every time I've let them go after. They're easy to take care of as long as you keep everything. Like your humidity just needs to be crazy high, right?
That's all. That's all I do with the rings, kind of thing.
I'm
Give them a
telling you, I
good
might
water
get my
bowl.
own
I just
pair, you know.
yeah.
I wanted to see how jealous Shan
I
would
was
get.
just like,
Well,
I'm so
maybe
jealous.
one goes to Shan for a couple spotted pairs, and then
I've
one
been-
goes to Dom for. You guys will be fighting over them.
Nope, those are mine. Nope.
That's cool. Well, there's another thing we talked about this week, and I know I'm not going to say nothing about it, but I'm very interested in that deal. You and I, Dom.
Let me think of. Yeah. So that's in the works. The guy hasn't really replied back to me, but well, I'm just gonna say we're still in the process of trying to get GTPs, and doors open here, doors closed there, and right now, honestly, it's looking like it's gonna take a while, and I'm okay with it. But
is it like importing from Indo, or did you find something a little?
We might have found something captive bred, so that is actually pure. So, well, we'll see. I'll just leave it at that. We're working on it, but that could be a nice. No, I don't need to say more than that.
But I was just like, yeah, okay. We'll say it off air.
Yeah.
I listened to one podcast. What was it today? It was with Patrick Holmes. It was with.
Oh, you finally listened to that one?
I don't think it's the same one. The one with Steve Tillis about Nido Part 2. Yeah, Patrick Holmes, MJ, and Adam was on there.
Yeah. That's the one I told you to listen to like a week ago.
Oh, was it? Okay, well, I just listened to it today. And they were talking, and at one point they even talked about, they talked about Adam Wickens, which was just funny. I'm just going to leave it at that. If anybody wants to go listen to it, you should, including you, Shan.
So what podcast is this?
The Trap Talk.
Which one?
Trap Talk. Steve Tillis, the Nido Talk, Part 2. So
it's like it came out like a week ago, so it should be.
I gotta ask you. I feel a little stupid on this part because this is where I lack my technology stuff. So when I look on my app, and you tell me to look at like what's that, like Tuesday in the tree.
Yeah, it's just all under Trap.
All in the tree. It's all under one thing. He's got just one thing that.
But I haven't heard the main crew in a long time. Is that normal?
I think they've kind of laid back on it. Maybe
Mendez and
I think they're changing it up a touch, but it's hard to.
Yeah, they switched up all up in the tree Tuesdays to once every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I think they're going back.
Patrick and Ryan Young are kind of doing like another GTP show. Let's talking more about the species and all that cool stuff, which I just needed because I'm still having a hard time understanding what locale, because you hear the localities, but then it's hard to think of them as a species instead of just a locality, right? So I think that's a much needed show kind of thing.
Did you guys hear about the podcast where Nick said he's coming out with a new podcast? I was like, okay.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
We'll see. We'll see if that goes anywhere.
Well, and he's doing it with
Warren Booth. Warren
Booth?
Oh, okay.
Dr. Warren Booth, yeah.
I don't know if Warren Booth will ever talk on that podcast, though.
Yeah, Warren's pretty good at talking, too.
That's what he...
Well, we'll just bring Warren on to ours to talk more.
So go check that podcast, and he talks about that, and that's kind of funny, like, where he's like, Warren kind of brings him back into, like stop talking. It's like, we got to get back on to, like, on topic, you know? So it's kind of funny. Good. So I've been listening to some podcasts. I really enjoy Patrick Holmes, so I really want to watch that podcast.
Yeah, he's a
listen.
He's full of a lot of knowledge, right? So yeah,
absolutely.
I can't wait. We're probably gonna have him on sometime in the next month. I'll say, kind of thing. Like we got, was it next weekend? We'll probably do a doubleheader kind of thing. So if you're listening to this, if you want to listen to the shows ahead of time before they are released, you can check it out on the live section of YouTube, kind of thing. Because next weekend we're going to have an early morning show on Saturday with Joe Stefano. Or Joe Stefano. I should look at his name. But the Colubrid Corruption podcast, Joe, he's doing a great job over there. Another nice young keeper, kind of, I think he's probably only a year older than me, so he's like Cush's age kind of thing, doing his thing with colubrids and kind of moving from more pythons into colubrids and the whole podcast thing. So it'll be great to chat with him. And then the guest we were supposed to have today, Anthony, he was feeling a little sick today, and obviously it's Easter Sunday as well. So we're going to kind of postpone that till next Sunday to have Anthony on, because he'll be a great guest. Like, Anthony's a phenomenal speaker. He does so much in the world of chelonians, from turtle and tortoise keeping to running the turtle room, which is like kind of a collaborative thing but amongst hobbyists. But then he also works, like, he has some animals from zoos and stuff in his collection that he's kind of breeding on loan as well, and does conservation work too, and goes on talks to, because in the US they have turtle and tortoise clubs, just like reptile clubs, but like just for turtles and tortoises kind of thing. So he goes to those, and the Shalom, like they have, what is it, the TTPG, or no, is it the TSA? They have like a turtle convention basically that they host every year, I think mostly in Arizona. But it's kind of neat how the turtle people have their own like world of super reptile nerds kind of thing, but like it's almost more positive to an extent, right? There's the ugly part of the turtle smuggling whole thing going on between the US, and that's why side note, so if you notice Environment Canada at shows in North America, is because they've definitely been out to the BC shows, and they sometimes show up at other shows, and they inspect people's collections, especially ones that are keeping turtles and tortoises, especially for CITES 1 animals, and they'll ask about other CITES 1 animals too. But the reason they're doing that, honestly, from what I can tell, is that like as Canada borders the US, we're almost like a middleman in terms of people smuggling stuff out of the US into Canada to then send it over to Asia, right? So in some states in the US it's still legal, or not necessarily legal, but people can still collect a ton of box turtles and bog turtles and wood turtles and all that stuff and send it over to or snapping turtles, right? So it's not that there's too many people in our hobby really doing a bad thing up here. It's that they got to dot their T's and cross their I's to make sure none of that is actually filtering into our hobby, which I don't believe it is. I'm pretty sure, from what I can tell, you don't really see too many turtles and tortoises. Well, you see a lot of tortoises, but they're all like, there's no reason they're not captive bred kind of thing. There's no American tortoises here, and in terms of turtles, they're definitely all pretty healthy captive bred animals from reputable people, because there's only probably a handful of people breeding, like, I don't know, maybe a dozen people breeding turtles kind of thing that are kind of well known, that sell to the general sellers out there at shows. There's a couple in Quebec and Ontario, and that's about it, I think, kind of thing. Yeah.
So you're telling me they come to shows and check out the shows?
We have them come out. They come out to the BC show. Actually, they didn't come to the last one. Actually, we invited them not the last show, but the show before, and they had a table there, kind of with the CITES book on the table, kind of informing people. Like they're more walking around, like being like, you know about CITES, right, kind of thing. And then if you're, honestly, it's only for turtles and tortoises. Like maybe they'll kind of ask you about your Dumerals or Argentines if you have them on the table, because they are CITES 1, and you technically should have paperwork for them. But because they've been in the country since before CITES, it's kind of like, as long as you prove to them that they're captive bred, they're just trying to do their job kind of thing. They don't want to give more paperwork, or they don't want to give you a hard time. They just gotta do their job kind of thing. But yeah, no, they come by the shows, and like they kind of write people's names down, and just to know who's in the hobby, right? Like, but it's something to be aware of. That they're keeping an eye on it, just because, well, there's some bad apples out there, so they kind of got to do it right. So just something yeah.
I don't, from what I've seen at shows, I've never seen like something like that. I've seen bylaw officers come by and stuff like that. But
yeah, no, these are actually the Environment Canada guys that come by. They're the guys that deal with the border stuff, actually. So they're usually doing their job at the border crossings kind of thing.
See, that's kind of funny because at the airport there's all kinds of border patrol, whatever border security, if you want to call it. I'm surprised they don't go to that, but I've never seen them. There was the one time about 3 years ago. Remember, Dom? We saw at a table, and
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
We reported a table because it was pretty bad. Like,
so there was at the Canadian Reptile Breeders Expo, so basically the same show as you, but on our side of the globe, or I guess I should say globe country. They had a lot of complaints that were made about shows to like PETA and all those kind of shit. And that one show, they had like bylaw officers and things walking around the entire show everywhere. Like there was a lot. And the person in charge of the show, that you should know who it is, basically asked us, he's like, if you see anything weird at the table, just tell me, because I'm going to make everybody take off. Because their shows are now, it's been a while, it's been a couple of years, right? They're captive bred only. You're not allowed to have anything that is not captive bred, which I think is kind of nice. Now, is it all captive bred is another question. And I can see the grimace on Michael's face for the people listening on the podcast. But I'd like to think they all often are. But anyway, there was these wild-caught emeralds that were just like looking like half dead with ticks on them and all that. Like it looked horrible. So we've had bylaws at shows that I've seen, but I've never seen border control. That's just a new one for us. So going back to what I was trying to talk about, the Steve Tillis episode, before both you gents rudely interrupted me and just took the podcast on a tangent somewhere completely different. So 15 minutes later, now I'm going to make my point, if I can remember what I want to talk about. So we were talking about the GTPs, right? And how we've been thinking about it and all that. And then it made me come back to this podcast. So Steve Tillis was talking about Nido, and then they had Patrick Holmes on. And Patrick Holmes is, I see him very similarly as Nick. As soon as he gets on, he kind of steals the show and talks a lot, right? Like he takes your, he is a crazy knowledgeable guy, and he's awesome to listen to. Like, that's why I'm really looking forward. So if you're listening to it, Patrick, you've got my mad respects. I'm not bringing you down. Just saying you talk a lot, which is great. It's great for a podcast. Maybe not with 5 other guests, though. So anyway, so he came on and he talked a lot. But what I really liked about him is, number one, his comments about Adam Wickens, which I thought was hilarious. But the comments that he made about importers and about getting wild-caught green trees, he brought up 2 importers, and one mainly that he talked a lot about, which was a previous guest on our podcast, which was Ashley Dezan. And he talked about it a lot, about how she's like one of the best importers that he's seen in a long time, and how he had mad respect for her and all that. And going back to the whole GTP thing, anyway, I thought it was pretty cool. And I'll be honest, like Shan and I, that's probably our plan, is that if we're going to do more wild caught this time, we're going to go through her, because out of all the different options, and we have, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 options in Canada to import from. Like, there's a few people. We know the majority of them. I think, in our opinion, even considering what has happened in the past with the animals she imported, I still think she's our best choice and the best option, and probably the safest option. Anyway, that's my personal opinion there. But so, yeah, anyway.
I think maybe pay a little bit more is worth it to get that extra quality we're going to get with Ashley.
Yeah.
I mean, even if we're going to pay a little bit more, I really think at this point.
But in the end, it also is still kind of like for what they are, it's not that much more than, and you know, you're dealing with reputable people. So,
well,
right,
it's better than what we got now, right? I
exactly.
I paid up front and I got nothing. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, I totally. I enjoyed that patch. I probably should re-listen to it from the beginning, but I think I started listening like an hour in, which I still got all the good parts out of it, kind of thing. Like, listening to Stephen Tillis, he's a wealth of knowledge as well, right? Like he kind of knows how it kind of works, right? In terms of Nido, well, as much as they can, though, right? Like, it's a science is a fluid thing that's always changing, and you're always learning new aspects of it, and you learn new things that's what science is, right? It's not set in stone. It can change tomorrow. We can learn something totally new in a year from now that we didn't know 5 years ago, right? Like, so stuff's always ever evolving in science. So it's always good to hear from people who are as up to date as they kind of know, who deal with it. Like Steven has nidopositive collections. Patrick has nidopositive collections, which was a part of that talk on how there's not really a need to actually euthanize animals unless they're that bad, kind of thing. So yeah, no, I liked what Patrick said, because he basically regurgitated every single thing I thought while listening to the that podcast that came out several months ago with the individual. Everything that went through my mind. The quote of, "I've done a year's worth of research," or "I've been researching for a whole year, and I never heard about this disease before."
What is Nido?
as you're on a podcast with somebody as like MJ literally talks about Nido every single show, probably. Like, I don't think I've heard a show where he hasn't talked about Nido at least once, kind of thing, in some sort of reference to something, right? So it's obviously he wasn't listening to MJ's podcast.
So I listened to the podcast with Stephen Tillis last time, and it was very, very good. It was very good. I've listened to a few podcasts with Patrick Holmes on it, but I haven't listened to that one. But that'll be definitely the one I do my cleaning to this week. I've been getting into that habit. Every time I do some cleaning, I throw on some headphones and just go at her and give her a listen. Sometimes I listen to it twice because, like they say, it takes a little longer to retain something, especially when you're doing something and you get busy with something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I listen to it, and then maybe in a couple weeks I'll run out of podcasts and re-listen to some kind of thing. Like, I still re-listen to 10-year-old podcasts sometimes, because why not?
So we should reach out to Steve Tillis, though.
Yeah, he'd be fantastic to have on him. Like, there's tons of people. He's on my master list of people we should have on. Yeah.
So the only thing is, after listening to that show, there's two things that struck out to me. One of them is that, memory blank. Fuck, I hate when I do that. So the first thing he talked about, he's like, well, I'm not a vet, right? I'm a doctor of blah blah blah, and I don't even know what he's a doctor in, but he's not a vet. So he's like
doctor of veterinary medicine, but not a vet or something.
But no, I don't think he is.
It's some sort of probably virology, right? Similar to
something like that, right? But
honestly,
and then
right?
he talks about how to treat them, and he talks about putting them at 95 degrees, but he talked about it in a different way that I'm not sure is the right way. And I know it sounds weird to say, but when he talked about it, was just about increasing your hotspot to 95, which, okay, I get putting the hotspot to 95, but if you have a hotspot to 95 and the animal can choose to go anywhere else, an animal will not stay at 95.
Well, but that's the thing, right? Like, the animal that's sick will probably, honestly, like, that's where sometimes I disagree with Nick that animals are stupid, kind of thing, because animals have evolved to kind of try to fight through stuff. And like, as humans, we know, like, we can, like, we get fevers to burn off the to try to get our body going and get our immune system going, while snakes will probably, like, snakes that are sick are going to sit kind of under the heat a bit more, kind of thing. So I think
but they're not.
Like, yeah, they're probably not going to sit under it nonstop, but if they can go in and out of it, like, I think they can. I think they can.
So I have some snakes that won't even seek the heat at all, and for some reason I worry about that, right? And then you'll have that one that gets sick, and it's like the heat's available. They never go near the heat, but they still got sick. So it's not like, I don't know. I don't think that.
But
not in every case.
Like, a basking bulb might get you a different effect than kind of that the UVC is what they call the I think is it UVC or is it IR? I don't know. Whatever, like the heat tape and heat panels is a different kind of heating, right? It doesn't fully actually heat them up. It kind of just is like more of a surface warmth, right? While the bulb will actually heat up the animal kind of thing, right? So maybe that'll, even if they're not under it 100% of the time, right? Because I don't think any animal is going to really, well, some will probably, right? But like, they're going to be able to sit under it for periods of time, warm their whole body up, and maybe they'll move over. But like you say, some animals, maybe there's something else going on that's the reason why they're doing that too, right? So it's a healthy animal will probably thermal regulate better. But
I get what Dom says. In this case, what you want to do is get the snake to be healthy as quick as possible. And the way to do that is to control it and to make sure it never escapes that hot spot of 95 for a certain amount of time to heal. That's the way I see it.
So I think he was giving
with that.
I think he was giving the way a safe way of doing it that has no risk, right? By putting your hotspot at 95, your animal can seek it. It will help, and it will not kill it, because if he needs to move away from it, he can. Now, 95, the reason I'm saying you can kill it is 95 is like the threshold of what most pythons can tolerate before it causes issues, right?
Like even if you had, you would probably give like the anthills, right? Like some people might heat those at 95 on their hot side, right? Like so, like I would say like that's not totally unsafe, right?
Okay, but would you put a green tree at 95 that he can't escape, or how about a diamond python at 95, right?
Like as a basking spot.
No,
I'm like honestly, for a diamond, you could probably give a diamond a 100-degree basking spot as long as they have the opportunity to get away from it.
So what I'm trying to get to is that if you looked at so Stephen Tillis was with Julander, there were two of the people that did that paper, and basically the way they treated was that they tested was to put it at 95 with no escape for 15 days, right? So the only way to really achieve that is basically to have ambient at 95 or an incubator at 95, put the animal in the box with water and everything. This way the animal can't escape. But I think that when you look at the threshold of most pythons, I'm not saying all, but most pythons can probably tolerate 95 for 2 weeks, but you're taking one heck of a risk. I think you're just at the threshold where they should survive, but at 95, if it kills off the full viral load. Anyway, so what I was trying to get to is that the way he talked about it was to just put a hotspot at 95, which I think is a very safe way of saying it on the podcast. Yeah. But my understanding is that's not the
It'd be interesting to hear what his thinking is, because I think he might be onto something if you were using like a bulb kind of, because that'll heat differently than just a heat panel in terms of maybe that's even more effective at getting the animals to like actually get their immune system kind of going a bit better is what I was thinking. Just like with like because the bulb will actually like heat them up more similar to the sun. Obviously nothing's as good as the sun, but it's a better heat kind of thing. But then the ambient, well, you can't, like ambient's ambient, right? So you're not worrying about it not getting up because it's going to be at that temp. So it's maybe if you had a 95-degree hotspot or even a 100-degree hotspot, and then you had like a, I don't know, high 80s ambient kind of thing to let them, I don't know. It's hard to say though. Maybe that's close enough that they would kind of go away from it, and then they wouldn't be sitting at the temp you want, right? Rather, if you had them a cooler, maybe they would want to actually stick under that hotspot a lot more kind of thing.
Yeah, so my thinking is that if you're only doing a hotspot of 95 with a sick animal, when he goes under, it will reduce slowly the viral load, but then it's going to go somewhere else. Maybe it spends 25% of its time under there. Maybe it spends 10%, maybe it spends 50, but whatever it is, you might end up reducing the viral load by just killing off a lot of the RNA from the virus, but you'll never remove it all. So really, you're not treating the snake. You're kind of reducing the symptoms, right?
Yeah,
you're
but
bringing it down. But the idea of the idea of the 95 for 14 days is that it didn't reduce it; it completely removed it. Right. So again, I could see how it has its benefits, but is that a treatment plan, or is that like you're treating the symptoms, you're not fixing the problem?
Yeah, no, that's what I was kind of going to ask too, because I forgot if it was. But yeah, I think I remember you saying that before, where it was completely eliminated. So I think it's yeah. We'll have to have him on and kind of see what he thinks about it, right? Because
And
he's the one that did the experiment. Same with
so
Zoolander would be interesting. Well, I think he's already kind of shared where it. Like I think Justin kind of believes. Well, he'll listen to this and probably correct us on what we're saying here, and we'll be idiots. Oh, you're muted, Dom.
as I say, he can come back on and tell us how wrong we are.
Yeah.
But keep in mind that the test they did was on diamond python cell membranes, or I don't know what they
So
call it.
it's technically not an actual live snake, so you might get a little.
So exactly, and it's on a test basis. It's not done on it. So these are like hypotheticals. What would work? What would happen? Right. So we're all talking about the hypotheticals and all that, but I mean, at this point, it's been out long enough that I think we all know that it's been tested by many people, and I don't know. I think it looks promising, but I think that some people have lost snakes also doing it. So I think there's a risk factor there.
For sure.
Yeah, I was just thinking. For some reason, like the way you guys were kind of talking about the hotspot thing, kind of got me thinking about how maybe maybe a heat lamp actually, like, I don't know, might be another option. I'm just trying to think about how it would maybe
explain to me
work,
why
or maybe
a heat lamp is better. I don't get your reasoning.
It's the way that it heats up, like compared to like the heat. Like that's why Ryan Young uses like a heat emitter or a heat lamp instead of heat panels, right? Because a heat panel is just going to kind of warm up and just kind of dry out the cage / like that's why I use heat panels almost more as I set it to more like an ambient temp, knowing that it's going to get hotter, obviously. Like if the animals have the option, right? Like the Bahamas, I have it set to 80 with the room being an ambience of 75 to 68 at night kind of thing. And obviously I let the heat panel kind of drop at night too, but it's still going to stay on a little bit and just kind of bump the cage up a touch kind of thing. But I use it more of an ambient in terms of, because it's just going to dry out the cage and it's not actually penetrating the animal skin. It just kind of warms up the surface is really what it's doing. Is the way that heat radiation works, right? Because heat is a type of radiation similar to light is a type of radiation. So for whatever, I'm not totally sure why. I think some bulbs might be better than others too, right? Like you get the mercury vapors, right? Those ones from back in the day that I think people would use for the bigger monitors and stuff, probably still use them, right? That are expensive and like 250 watts. Well, those things really warm up stuff. They're very good at heating stuff up kind of thing, like similar. But then I think like even just normal basking bulbs, the way they kind of actually, the reason they're not efficient is because they release so much heat. But I guess it's just a different type of radiation basically that actually penetrates into the animal rather than just kind of warming up the surface. That's why animals get burnt when they like have like when heat tape is set, like goes off, right? Or the heat pad that's not regulated sits at like 100 degrees on the bottom of the tank and stuff kind of gets burnt on it, right? Is because they just keep sitting on it, even though it's hot. It doesn't like necessarily penetrate them as well. So like say like you're in a cold house and it's on a full blast and it's gonna burn the animal because it's at like 100 degrees and the animal's just sitting on it because it's not actually ever getting warm or as warm as it wants to get, right? That's kind of the concept behind that.
I think it's
somebody could explain it better than I do, but that's kind of how I can think of how to explain it right now.
You struggled well through it.
I think it might be great for like I've seen people do it with diamonds and
yeah, that's why people do it with diamonds because they're a phenomenal animal for it, right? Where you can just put it on a timer and cut it off at night, and who cares if they get down to 68? They'll be just fine.
Sure, but But if your animal is sick in this in in this experiment that they're doing, I would think an incubator is so much better. It's so much more controlled. You just set it to whatever it is. The animal stays at that, call it whatever, cures the NITO, RI, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I feel like that way there's no escaping. There's no, well, I got hot enough and now I'm going to go to the cold spot and not really get rid of, like I said, I don't think you're going to get rid of the full complete virus that way. I think you're only like kind of suppressing it, I guess would be the word.
I guess that's where I was thinking, like, you could even bump it to like 100 or 105 maybe on the hot spot where they're going in and out of it, maybe a little bit, or they're sitting just on the side of it where they want to get up to that.
If they have an escape, I guess it's fine.
But then it's I think we would just have to try it, honestly, on some NITO positive animals, right? And kind of see that are displaying symptoms, to see kind of what they do too. Like, it'd be interesting, like, to see, like, maybe they do want to actually sit underneath the heat a lot more, and they do sit there. But then you'd almost want to, and then maybe test it between bulbs and heat emitters, right? And because the heat emitter doesn't have a light on it, so it's just a constant. So you could keep that at 100 degrees or 95 degrees all day long for the full, and maybe you go an extra week kind of thing, and maybe that gets you some other results. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think of ideas here for an experiment almost, and to see. Well,
I feel if you're in the field and that's what you want to do, and you want to do that, I think that's great. But for the normal average Joe or the average breeder, maybe I'm wrong by saying that, but for me, it's much easier to just like have an incubator, have it set, and just put it away for 15 days, right? Check on it a few times, make sure it has water. But I just think that being in control there in that situation, like maybe with like how you raise your diamonds, sure. I use a radiant heat panel for them. So same thing with the Brettles. I use a radiant heat panel. I actually like those. They're not bad.
Yeah. Like I have radiant heat panels on most of my. I even keep it on my colubrids in my, just because set it to 75 or high 70s. Like, it's going to get warmer kind of thing, but they're nice and easy to use. You don't have to necessarily, like, especially for like the 1 foot tall cages, right? Like, I'd rather use heat panels than heat tape, right? I'm just nervous about heat tape kind of thing. Want to minimize that in the room, but it's like I'm with you, Shan, where the heat that so far, like with me keeping, like, heat panels have produced most of my babies, honestly. Like, my adult pine snakes have a 40 watt heat panel in their 6 foot cage kind of thing. Like, I could keep them ambient as well if I bump the room up a touch kind of thing. But like, it's definitely it's effective. So that's where, like, I'm just like, you see where Ryan says this stuff, so you want to definitely take in what he's saying. But then obviously, like, we all use heat panels and heat tape, and it's also proves to be really, really successful as well. So it's kind of, but then I keep a couple snakes with bulbs, and man, it's cool to watch them like actually sit under there and bask and kind of do their thing on routine. But then they do the same thing on the heat panels too, right? So it's just kind of nice to, I guess, because there's a light there, that you see them better, right? Like, that's part of it too.
And you know what? I used to be old school. I used to do a lot of heat lamps and stuff with that. I was big time into the heat lamps, like way back when. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not the thing anymore. Like, they have PVCs with the heat lamp, like basically the socket and everything's all built in and everything. But I don't know. I've gotten away from that kind of thing. Like, I used to breed all kinds of stuff with heat lamps, and all it was just you sit it right on top of the tank. But I mean, we used to build melamine tanks in the old days, right?
Oh yeah.
Ugliest things ever, but it didn't matter, right? It just whatever worked, right?
I think most of us have stopped doing that purely on the fact that It uses
it's
so much electricity. Those bulbs were
yeah.
crazy,
Yep.
and you couldn't stack anything.
I
Yeah.
almost had a house fire with one, so I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah.
Seriously, when I first moved here, I almost burnt the house down. So I had that lizard. I don't remember if you remember that. I had a Tagu. Yeah. Anyway, I had a heat lamp, and I basically, it was an open top, and I had the heat lamp, and it was on a clip, and for some reason he got out some way, and basically the lamp fell down, and then the wife was away just up in Prescott, which is not far from our house, 5 minutes. And she came back home, and the house was like bellowing. Yeah, luckily nothing was damaged or anything. Everything was good. But yeah, no, that was a pretty scary. Yeah, learned my lesson. So
Yeah, now that you say it, I actually do remember you having a Tegu.
yeah,
That's a while back, eh?
yeah. Well, I've had all kinds of stuff in the past. I've had Tagus, monitors, iguanas. We've had all the fads, whatever.
Yeah. So going back to one more thing regarding the whole Nido and treating with heat, I don't know if you guys have been doing this forever, but like for the past 25, 30 years, it's been known that heat helps heals the animals, right? So whenever you'd have an animal that would be sick, you'd go to the vet, he'd prescribe you, I don't know, whatever it would be, not Cefta. Before Cefta, what is it that they prescribed all the time there?
What was it?
Fuck.
Flagell? No.
No, not Flagell. The Baytril. There you go.
Baytril.
So you'd
Baytril
always
burns.
get you'd always get the Baytril, and he'd tell you like just put up your temperatures, right? But then eventually you figured out that the best thing you could do for your animals was you'd do your treatment of Baytril, which would be usually like an injection every 3 days for, let's say, 7 days or whatever, right? Or for 5 times. Then you'd put them in your incubator at 88, so that this way the animal couldn't escape the heat, and you'd give them the injections, and like all of the animals got better. Like the heat with the antibiotics was just like a godsend. It would fix anything. And I feel like this is just like a little bit more stretching it a little bit further, but really taking it to like closer to the maximum that an animal can tolerate.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Are you Dom? Are you fine if I think I found a guest to fill in for an hour?
For right now?
Yeah, I don't know. You can fit in with the general chit chat. It's Brayden from the. I think he just started a podcast too, but he's more of like a water snake guy. But he does educational stuff. He's a chill guy.
Hey, I mean, bring him on if you want.
We're just doing general chit chat, so I'm sure
you can just come and chit chat.
Say his few cents.
Guys, I'm gonna hop off for like 30 seconds. My left contact is bugging the crap out of me, so I'll let you guys chat. I'll be back in like a minute.
All good.
Sure.
All good. I'll just shoot Brayden the email if I remember his. Now all the emails come up. I love how like half the time when I go to plug in your guys' emails now, for some reason it doesn't automatically pop up. Like usually like you type in DOMs and it just pops up right away, or even you click on it and it pops up with 3 different ones, right? Especially so now I'm like having to dig back through it. Dig back through our conversations for everybody's email as I set it up every week. How are the gray bands looking this year? Did you brumate them, or did you just kind of go cold turkey with them?
Yeah, they're together now. She's still eating. We'll see what happens. I feel like everything's late this year for some reason. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think everything's kind of on schedule for me. Like my stuff kind of goes later. That's why when Dom's kind of worried about his roughies, I'm like, I think Owen's didn't even go till like he had one kind of go earlier, but then the other didn't go for like another 2 months, right? He had one hatching and the other laid, kind of thing. So I think if I was him, I wouldn't be too worried. Just they're together, let them do their thing for the next 3-4 months, even, and
so
there's always next year.
Funny story is with the Warmas, before I met Dom, I had already bred them once or twice. I think twice. Pretty impressive, I guess. I don't know, whatever. I just, like I said, I picked them up from somebody. They were originally Don Patterson Warmas.
Oh yeah.
And I kept them in a tub with a heat lamp on the top, basically under heat, under the tub heat, basically on the one side. And I kept them together. I separated them and I fed them, and they bred for me. Right now, I put them in a.
Hey guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
So
this is Brayden from Creatures Crossing. Sorry, Shan, you can continue.
Yeah, do your thing,
know
Shannon, and do your thing.
I know worries. I was just talking about the Warmas there. So just saying how when I first got them, I was just basically breeding them like very like basic. Like I was keeping them basic. I was just doing just like a keeper, but keeping them together. She ovulated, give me eggs, and I got the eggs. I did that twice. Now I'm keeping them. I'm just having a hard time getting her to ovulate. No matter what I do, she just won't ovulate for me. She just keeps eating. I pair them up, and I see them locked up, but she just doesn't ovulate. I don't know. I just feel, when you feel like I just didn't even think about it before. I was just doing it, and I got eggs, and now I guess I'm putting too much thought into it or something. I don't know. I'm bringing them down just like I did, cold, and then bring them up, and then giving them lots of food. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts with Lucas Lee and trying to, getting some more info, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Just see what happens, but nothing yet. So.
Do you think it's the male? Maybe the male got too big. No, probably not.
No, he's not too big. He's.
It's just like hard to think what could make a Walma not want to breed. They seem to be a little more straightforward. But then I guess blackheads. Yeah. Oh, okay.
So
weird. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's just
not all the time. They are locking, but she's just. I don't know.
Weird.
I don't think they're too old because you hear of people, I don't overfeed them. Am I not feeding them enough? I don't know. I just think I might not be feeding them like constant, like
consistently. So the other thing, Shan, I was going to say is number one, how old are they? And then number two, I know you say you've bred Womas multiple times, but every time you've bred Womas, you only produce males. So if you only produce males, is that really considered breeding them? Because I mean, like you've never produced a female Woma ever. Because all the Womas you ever give me are freaking males. Okay, so until you produce a female Woma, it doesn't even count.
Okay, you got to stop making the rules here. All right. First of all, you say no counting slugs. Now you're telling me, well, if it's only males, doesn't count. Like,
have you ever produced a female Woma?
You can't make up the rules here as you go along.
Have you ever produced one female Woma?
Probably one.
No.
Yes.
No.
Before I met you, maybe. I don't know.
What's up, Brayden? How are you, man?
Hey Dom, hey Shan, hey Michael, how you guys doing?
How you doing tonight, man?
Not too bad. I see I've come in on some sabotage talk.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you got to put Shan back in his place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Making all the babies last year.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
So, how's your? Where's your guest? What the hell? I was waiting for the turtle guy.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it too. But he'll be on next week. It'll be all good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Because you keep some turtles too, right, Brayden? Or no, not anymore.
Yeah. I have alley snappers.
Nice.
That's
nice.
it.
You don't
That's
see many of those.
No, they were.
How big?
BB2, tiny little things. They're like.
Oh.
They're
years to go.
Yeah, tiny little things. I'm supposedly the first in Canada. The guy's pretty down low about it, but I saw his setup. It was one of my mentor's buddies, and they reached out to me a few years ago and were like, "Hey, I got alley snappers if you want some." And I was like, "Well, I'm not a turtle guy, but like alley snappers are pretty cool. I'll take some." And then unfortunately, I got talked into taking 2, but it is what it is.
You're saying the first one in Canada to breed them or to have them?
No, to breed them.
Okay, because as I say, I've seen a lot in.
Oh yeah, there's
captivity.
tons of them. There's tons of them here, but no, like for them to be captive bred and born in Canada, supposedly it's the first. I'm not like I don't know much about the history of turtles in the country, but that's just what I've heard. I don't know of anybody else who's produced them.
Yeah, definitely recently, because you definitely see those ones where you see like the old adults, and you're like, how legal is that animal?
And when I was working at a zoo, we had this alley snapper that had a hole drilled in the bottom left corner of its shell, and it's from when it was wild. They had it chained to a dock, and as a pet, right? Like they probably caught it when it was 10 inches long, and they drilled a hole in it. And the owner who eventually we got it from a zoo in the States, who then sent it to us. But they had photos from the original owner of this turtle, like they're like standing on the dock smiling with it, and you can see the chain attached to the corner of the shell all the way down. And this picture must have been taken in the 70s, like, and his name was Kong, and he ended up getting like well over 200 pounds, like just a monster. By the time I met him, he had like full-blown cataracts and gnarly looking thing.
Wow. Just by curiosity, don't when the turtles shed, they shed their top layer of their scutes, right? Wouldn't that hole slowly close back, or it never closes again?
I mean, maybe in some cases. In this case, he always had about a centimeter hole as long as I ever knew him. It was and it was like, it didn't look any unusual aside from just being a giant hole in his shell, but it never closed. I don't know if it was maybe because it was in his shell so long or what, or maybe because he was so small and it was a big chain in this tiny little turtle shell as he grew. Like, there's no way a chain would have fit in it by the time I knew him, so I guess it closed a bit, but it never closed completely. I don't know where he's at now. He's probably still alive.
Oh yeah, those things like never die. Yeah, I remember seeing.
Only been like 6 years ago, so.
Yeah, I remember the first time I think I saw. Was it? Do you guys remember the Dirty Jobs show when he went to the snake farm down in Texas? I remember that show. I think that came out in like 07, 08 maybe. I remember being like, it was like a Christmas time kind of thing, watching Discovery Channel. That was a good memory that got me into reptiles too, probably.
Yeah. So Brayden, tell me a bit about yourself. I'll be honest with you, I don't know you that much, right? So this is a surprise guest, and I didn't even get a warning or anything about you. So
neither did I.
Well, there you go. So why don't you tell me where you fit into herpetoculture? I think you've got a podcast and animals you keep, just like the general, like a quick 5-minute. Well, you can make it 3 minutes if you want, but tell me a bit about you, just so I know where you fit in.
Yeah, so we started a podcast, I think about 3 months ago, me and my buddy Brayden, called Creature Crossing, and it's the same name as where like I have all my snakes listed and stuff. I was a decent sized garter breeder back when I first started, and then I kind of got out of the hobby a couple of years ago, and within the last like 9 to 12 months, I've kind of been pushing my way back in. So right now I keep a collection of mostly snakes in the subfamily Natricinae, which is like your garters and your waters. Right now it's mostly Nerodia. It's gonna be mostly garter snakes. I'm just in a weird spot right now, like getting my collection back up. But we run educational programs too. So I have 2 reptile rooms. One is my breeding room, which is where I am right now, and this is where all the garters and waters and the tokays are. And then in the other room is all my outreach stuff. So like we've got the constrictors and the caiman is out there, and the random, dozen other animals that don't fit in like a themed room, if that makes any sense. But yeah, like the outreach is awesome, but like I'm a garter guy for sure.
It's actually kind of cool. Garters, like,
what type of garters?
Yeah.
So right now I'm working with checkers, and I've got a lot of Eastern garters right now. And I think those are and I've got some coast garters coming in and some diluvial garters coming in, which are some of the Mexican subspecies or Mexican species. Sorry, Thamnophis X, come from a group of lakes over in Mexico where they're basically just like every lake has its own subspecies of Thamnophis X, and they're a lot of the species there will get like 4+ feet. Some of the females will push 5 feet. Like they're just huge garter snakes. But right now here, just got the checkers and the easterns at the moment.
Maybe I'm not the biggest garter snake guy here, but easterns, are those the ones we just have right in our backyard, like we're literally right here?
Yeah,
because I think on the whole western side of Canada, you guys have more like red-sided garter snakes. Is that
yeah,
right?
we got the normal Sertalis subspecies across the country. Like back in BC, we got the Puget Sound, the Puget Sound. I don't know.
It's all arbitrary, man. Whatever feels
Yeah.
good coming out your mouth.
Yeah, so we got those like in the Lower Mainland, but then interior BC they'd be called valley garters, which is like a different subspecies, all kind of red-sided. They're all, and then I think Alberta technically has some valley garters too. Maybe it's just not where I am. I more have like the would it be wanderings or terrestrials?
I think
I
you
don't know.
got.
I thought they were the same thing.
Well, they're all it's the same species, but I think you got Western terrestrial.
Okay, yeah, because BC also has that. I know those are like the most common one I see, but then we also got plains garters here, which are actually a common garter morph in the hobby in the U.S. Like it has a bunch of morphs in it and stuff.
Oh yeah, big time.
So
it's so
obviously
weird
we can't keep those because they're native here. But you guys are actually allowed to collect them, which is kind of cool.
But it's so weird to hear that you're keeping like just the common garter. Like to us, that's the common garter snake. If you go walk
they are
around
here too, yeah. These things though, they're nice, dude. They do not. I mean, you guys have. You're in Montreal, right, or Quebec?
I'm in Ottawa, but
okay.
same.
Ottawa.
I'm 2 hours from Montreal or 5 hours from Toronto.
So I'm located like right below the Arctic Circle, and all the garters here. There you go. That's what we got here. So you guys, in Quebec, they have the flames as well. We have flames here. It's just ours are slightly different, probably genetically closely related. This is what I'm working with. Mine are just not from a Quebec origin, which every single other one in the hobby is. I've given a couple friends a few snakes, but right now, like I'm the only person working with the locality.
Nice. Not the ones I was thinking about. Ours are like
those are
the
nice.
Green. Yeah, they're really nice. Ours are like
those are really nice.
Green and yellow striping.
I mean, like I'll be honest with you, Dom. I prefer the green and yellow striping. I've always been a sucker for like the boring earth tones. But and honestly, I've never been a fan of the Quebec flames ever. I've never found them interesting. Like I've kept them here and there. I don't know. I'm just a boring guy, I guess. But like now that I have these flames, I'm like, okay, these things are pretty sweet, and they're an exciting thing to keep. But no, like they are like where I am. They're the only native snake we have. We have others in Ontario. I'm just so far north that like I'm out of the range of all the others, except maybe smooth green snakes. But I think it's been since like the 50s since there's been a sighting. So they're probably here. But I just
I need to make a trip to, I think southeastern Saskatchewan has smooth greens as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe I could make my way out there, even to Manitoba, and go get some of those other stuff.
They're cool. They're
just
cool
barely goes up in there.
And Brayden, sorry, where are you from?
So, well, I'm from like the Toronto area originally, but I relocated about 1,000 kilometers north of that. So I'm in like this tiny little town called Moonbeam, which is in the middle of nowhere. It's a village of like less than 1,000 people.
Ontario?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you are Canadian. Okay.
Yes, I am.
But you're allowed to keep those? I was under the impression we couldn't keep anything native.
No, you can keep in Ontario. You can keep Eastern garter snakes that are captive bred and born. There's no issue with it. You can even collect them, but you have to be very careful. You have to have like a valid hunting license. There's limits to how many you can collect and things like that. Small games license. But anything captive bred and born is completely, like for Eastern garter snakes is legal.
Wow. I'll be honest, I didn't even know. I thought everything was illegal that was indigenous to the So I didn't think you could keep anything that was.
There's
here.
weird stuff too, and honestly, there's not even a fault of your own. Like a lot of people that work with the laws don't know it. And a good example is like I've gotten very mixed information about whether or not you can keep Nerodia sipodon, which is our northern water snake. And after digging, it turns out you're allowed to keep one. You're allowed to have one northern water snake. Just nobody does it because either they don't want a stinky, disgusting water snake, or they think it's illegal, right? But like you can have one technically, but you can't collect them. So how are you supposed to get it is also an issue, and which is also why I don't have northern water snakes, because I love northern water snakes.
Would that law like translate to other stuff in the same, like, say there's different subspecies of them? Would that affect that as well, or no?
I don't think you can keep Lake Erie water snakes. I don't think you can keep any of our other Thamnophis, mostly because they're not doing too good right now here. And so like Butler's garters are off the table. Our ribbon snakes are off the table. We have red-sided garter snakes, Peritalis. I've kept Peritalis. I don't keep them anymore. I don't see why it would be any different than the Sertalis, the eastern garters. I just haven't dug into that yet because I don't have any coming yet. But when I do again, I will.
Now I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is there a market for these?
It's kind of weird because when I started, I was it was me and a guy named Anthony in Canada, basically the only two dudes doing it. And I still talk to Anthony a lot. He's one of my good buddies. I don't know if I'm one of his. He's one of mine. But
what's
Anthony
Anthony's last name?
Louison. No,
okay,
no.
Somebody else.
This guy is like, I'm one of the only people who knows what he looks like. He's like king of like, I'm my own guy and I'm to myself. But I like Anthony a lot. And so when I started, it was him and I, a couple people that had like a pair maybe here and there. And then when I really got into it and started importing garters and stuff like that, it was booming. Like my litters were sold out before I could even post them. I bought this house with snakes that I made, or money that I made from garter snakes. Like they were doing really, really well. And then after I moved up north, it was still doing good, but due to a bunch of different reasons, I totally like chapter 11 everything. I sold everything. One of my biggest regrets is selling everything. So in a matter of like 24 hours, I went from having probably the largest collection of garter snakes in Canada, which I always preface isn't very impressive because I could have had like 4 pairs and had like one of the largest collections in Canada. Like you really don't have to try hard. But like after that, I had nothing. And so since getting back into it, it's tough to say. Like there's a couple people out there that are still doing it, except it's very spotty. Like they'll have like a litter every few years and they'll sit on a bunch of them, but they're also charging like a disgusting amount of money for snakes that I would be charging like $100-$150 like a few years ago. So it depends on how you do it. To answer your question, is there a market for it? Yeah, but you have to not be money hungry in order for there to be like a market for it. And that's not to say you can't make money doing it if that's like your goal, if that's your goal, whatever. Like it's I'd rather just have like a badass collection of snakes where people go, man, I didn't even know these garter snakes came in that color. But like it's tough to say. I'll let you know in a few years because the way everybody else is doing it is very different to the way I was doing it when I was doing it. But yeah, there's a market for it. It's also like an open sandbox. You know what I mean? Like nobody's really playing in my sandbox.
So I meant to ask that only because you don't see them at the expos or anything like that. So my next option would be, do you see it on Facebook? And I'm asking myself this question as a person that sells carpet pythons. There's not many carpet pythons at the expos, right? Not many people buy that stuff. So what do? You start going online, or you have to find another option. So another option for us, for Dom and I, is exporting to Japan, right? So to Asia.
Yeah,
right?
it's a weird one, and it's still like garter snakes everywhere, even in the States where they are more popular, are still less than 1% on Morph Market. Like they're kind of like if you think of like house
Yeah.
snakes.
That's a good
They're
Clint Bartley stat right there.
They're incredible, like an incredibly small niche. Even over there, like there's only like if there's a garter snake guy, like we know him. We all know each other. We all pretty much talk for the most part. There's a couple of people I don't talk to, and other people won't talk to. But like for the most part, we all know each other. It's a very small niche part of the hobby worldwide. Like we even talk a lot with the guys in Europe and all of them. But it's tough. I'm trying to make it bigger in a sense that like I think they're incredibly, and even this goes even if you think garter snakes are underrated, Nerodia are like, it's criminal how underrated those things are. But yeah, there you go, Lake Chapalas, which by the way, Lake Chapala garter snakes are probably at this point the most common garter snakes in Canada. They used to be one of our rarest, and they are fucking everywhere now.
Oh yeah, Ty just got Cody's group. I just saw them at the shop.
Cody sold his group.
Yeah, well, Ty got all his Rosies and those guys.
Yeah, they're incredibly common. And I remember when there was only 2 Lake Chapala albinos in the world, and now there's.
So are they pure albinos or are they hybrids?
From my understanding, they're pure albinos.
Oh, okay, because Ty has 2 gravid females right now. He set them up in a. Oh yeah, he set them up in a really nice 36 by 18 by 18 exo.
Oh, I saw that.
And they're looking.
Message him about those.
They're looking great. They're doing great. He has a basking bulb on them too. They're doing great.
I've never heard about them being hybridized because also none of the other X subspecies have any like albinism, from what I understand.
I just wasn't sure if somebody crossed them with planes or checkers.
Oh, like
or
Easterns
something.
or planes or something. I don't think so. No.
Okay.
And if it did happen, like the garter snake hobby is pretty like it's pretty anti-hybrid. Like when it happens, like my stance on it used to be extremely like I was very like hammer down on hybrids because I run the one garter snake group on Facebook too, and I've simmered a little bit. Like now I'm kind of more just like I don't care. Like you know what I mean. Depending on what's going on. There has been cases where it has kind of like screwed stuff up. In the case of the Hamilton, Ontario, which is where I'm from, when there was one individual who bred like 3 or 4, probably 2 to 4 litters of hybrids, and I had people messaging me for years going like, hey, I have suspicions that this isn't a pure snake, and I'd take one look at it, and hybrid garters are really easy to pick out. And they were Lake Chapala garter snakes hybridized with checkered garters. And it was like, what the fuck? And they were sold as, I think it was pure Lake Chapalas they were being sold as. And it worked. And the individual sold basically the entire litter of these snakes. And I remember one time I had a guy call me and he was like, I mean, hey, like whatever you think. But this guy was in tears about getting a hybrid. After being sold a pure Lake Chapala garter snake. It was his dream snake, and at the time they were very rare, and then he gets one and it turns out to be hybridized with checkers. So it was an unfortunate case of like hybrids. If you ever want an example of hybrids actually hurting the hobby, because you know it's kind of a debate, that it has happened, and in that case it did. I've kept hybrid garter snakes before. I've never bred them, I've never tried, I never will, but I had ended up with a litter or 3 or 4 animals that was a litter of, it was 75% Eastern, 15% Tetratania, whatever else percent Infernalis. Like it was a weird one, and it was because a hybrid male produced with a pure female. Those snakes were actually pretty cool. They were if you picture like the California red-sided garter snakes, it was that but replaced the red with blue, and it was a nice snake. But yeah, long-winded way of saying there's a market if you know how to find it.
So just by curiosity, do you cohab everything? Because my understanding with garter is you're pretty much cohabbing everything, and I think Nerodia is similar, right? So
yeah, Nerodia is similar. Nerodia is very, very similar.
That's beautiful.
That one's saturated to shit, but it is nice. They do get very nice.
I'll take myself one of those.
They're nice, eh? They're nice.
They're
very sassy. Very sassy. They're very hard.
The one with the blue and the red. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, the blue and the reds are nice. Oregon red
Yeah.
spotteds I had for a long time. I got mine from Frank Two's out in Germany. He's got some really nice ones. Unfortunately, sold them. Like I said, I regret it. Check that out. There's no blues in Canada right now, but we do have reds. Mine are floating around there somewhere.
That's a pretty bright line, like a stripe.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. That's pretty nice.
You can get the stripes in blue. You can get them in white. You can get them in yellow, cream. They're
Nice.
very
I like
cool
that.
snakes. The blues
That's
are
very nice.
awesome. I'd like to get some blues. But as for the cohab thing, yeah, I have a couple that aren't cohabbed right now, but for the most part, I try to cohab everything. It helps a lot with, especially babies. It helps with getting everybody to eat. If you have like an old trick for garter snakes, if you have a baby if you do decide to keep garters separate and you have a bunch of babies and one of them's not eating, throw it in with a sibling, the best eater. And a lot of the times that snake's going to start eating. They get very comfortable with each other. There's been studies that have shown that they can form relationships amongst each other. There's a study that's maybe 2 or 3 years old. It'd be cool to link. Michael, maybe I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it because I think Dr. Laughlin's probably talked about it on Colubra.
Probably, yeah. Like, and it wouldn't surprise me if Nerodia were no different. They're close relatives. If I'm not mistaken, they're separated by about 18 million years. So they are relatives, not super, super close. 18's quite a bit of time, but I mean, they're a very basal body plan. If you compare Nerodia, Regina, Storaria, Thamnophis to, which is all are just North American natricines. If you compare all of them to Natrix, which is the grass snakes, the viperine snakes, the water snakes over in Europe, they're very similar snakes. They look almost identical to like somebody who doesn't know the difference. And they're separated by about 36 to 39 million years. I mean, they're separated enough that the Natrix still lay eggs, which is pretty cool. At some point, our North American version of the subfamily lost its ability to lay eggs. There you go, classic. So these look like they look like our North American natricines, so like our waters and garters, because they're close relatives. These guys are a little more basal, but they're super cool too. And these have even less of an impact right now on the Canadian hobby. Actually, I think the Canadian hobby is probably almost doing better than the American hobby for these guys, thanks to Ashley. But very cool snakes. Check those out. That's a badass snake.
Yeah, they look pretty neat, kind of thing. I remember
Yes.
that list. I think Jesse has a pair, and then did you get some? Or
Yeah, I have
think a few
some.
people
Yeah,
got
I
some.
have I have Natrix Mora. Jesse has Natrix Mora, which is the viperine water snake, Maura. There you go. So these guys are cool. We have the striped variant, which is just a different phenotype that occurs naturally in the wild, but you can get them spotted as well. They come in reds, yellows. They're similar to our North American Thamnophis. They're very, very variable. There you go. That's what we've got there.
So I gotta ask, how did you end up doing only garters and waters? Like, because you're basically naming the two species that will like whiz all over you whenever you pick them up, right? So, like, how did you get to those?
You know, you're not wrong. They're definitely known for their ability to whiz on individuals. I'm very happy to say I don't have a whiz problem over here. Mine are very calm. Even my big diamondback water snake girls are quite calm. So they'll bite me before they'll musk, which depending on your preference may be good or bad. But how I ended up doing it is honestly, it's as simple as I remember seeing my first snake in the wild, and I never let it go. I guess like I remember where I was 4 or 5 years old. Remember seeing that garter snake. I remember what she looked like, how big she was, where she was, and I've never dropped it. I went into zookeeping as soon as I can. I got my first zookeeping job at 13. First thing I did was we had no garter snakes. I was like, why don't we have a big garter snake enclosure with all males. Like, give them 4 feet, give them 2 feet, give them all this height. And so I was always that's where my obsession was. And I took brief adventures into other obsessions, but I found myself always just reverting back to garter snakes. And then, I brought some home as a kid and kept them, kind of the classic story that everybody did. And then I kept a garter snake was the first snake I ever bought with my own money. It was an albino checkered garter snake. She's the outline of my logo. She's like the best snake I've ever had. She was perfect in every way. But I don't know, for the longest time, it was just garter snakes. I didn't venture into the water snakes. I don't know if that was because back then we didn't even have what we do now for water snakes in Canada, or if it was because I was just so hyper fixated on the garters. But I saw these snakes that nobody was interested. They're the snakes in your backyard. And then I thought, but nobody knows a fucking thing about them. Nobody knows anything about garter snakes. Half the people I run educational programs for is a perfect example of this. Don't even know they're called garter snakes. They have another name for them, whether it's garden snakes or gardener snakes or grass snakes even, right? And it was just something that always confused me, because here's a perfect example, Dom. You're sitting there asking me, so why garter snakes? Why is this the one that you hyper fixate on? But in my head, it's the opposite. I see the world and I'm like, why aren't these guys keeping garter snakes? I don't understand it. I don't know. They're communal. It's cool. They're intelligent. They're very, very personable snakes. Be it for food or what. As soon as I open a cage full of neonates, I've got 4 snakes crawling up my arm while I'm trying to feed the things. And like I said, it's for food. They want food, but still, it's a cool experience to have these snakes coming out to you. And as soon as I start working on enclosures over here, the ones over here are periscoped up, looking at me, watching my every move. The colors they come in are insane. If you want blue garters, they've got it. If you want red garters, orange, they've got it. Green, brown, black, yellow, they've got it. And there's just cool facts about them. They're kind of crunchy feeling. They're not as soft as your guys' carpet pythons. I'll admit that, because they've got those keeled scales, so they're pretty bumpy. But aside from that, just the ease of care is really incredible. I can feed these things whatever I want, and they're gonna do really well on it for the most part. I don't feed hardly any rodents, which, depending on what your opinion is nice or not. I actually find it a little easier to feed rodents, but some people don't like the whole rodent thing, and they'll prefer to feed fish. That's an option. Frogs is an option if you're very, very careful. But yeah, I don't know. I just think for what they are and how common they are, people aren't realizing how unique that they are, especially in captive herpetoculture. You can do anything with these things except keep them in really tight bins. They tend not to do very well in them, but aside from that, you can do anything you want with these things, and they're gonna show you some really cool stuff and different ways to pique your interest about a snake that most people will look at and go, yeah, but I have those in my backyard. If you go pick up the ones in your backyard, give them 5 minutes, they might as well be a captive snake. You know what I mean?
I think that's the thing, though. It's that if I want to go see garters or waters, they're the 2 things I'm always guaranteed to see whenever I go, right? If we go to our local provincial park here, if I go at the right time of the day, I can find anywhere between 20 to 25 water snakes in maybe an hour and a half. And I've got pictures of my kids holding 6 or 7 water snakes in their hand. They're like this because I keep taking them and putting them on their hands because they're they're so easy to find. If you find a good rock crevice around water, they're everywhere around the rocks, right?
And how awesome is that for somebody like me, who that's all I want to see?
And I think it's awesome. What I'm saying, though, is that I can see them out in the wild. So what I want in my cages are things that I can't have access to, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way I've always looked at it. And I'll be honest with you, I thought it was completely illegal to keep anything that was native. So that's another reason. Not that it would have really changed anything, but to me, it's just like I would never consider keeping local, my garter snake, just because to me, I can just go outside and see it.
Yeah, well,
It's-
that's true. You're absolutely right. And for the longest time, I didn't keep Easterns because of that. And it wasn't because like I knew they were legal and stuff. It was just like, well, I can go catch them, and I had cool spots with weird looking ones and stuff like that growing up. And you know, I started to make exceptions, and then you get stuff like the melanistic Eastern garters or the flames or like albino garters are really incredible looking snakes. And maybe that's part of the reason, but and then in my case, my favorite Eastern garter I ever had was a F1 from a female and a male caught kind of local to where I was, and she was just, if you take the yellow out of a garter and replace it with like a, a very opaque lime green, I mean, she was just incredible. She was black with like a lime green, and she was my favorite. But whereas you can catch those snakes, there is quote exotic ones. You can go to get the Mexican species if you want, Dom, and they're cool and they get a little bigger if that's your thing, right? Like you can get a 4.5 foot female out of those guys. It's pretty cool. But like, yeah, I mean, I don't. People ask me that all the time. Why garter snakes? I don't have a good answer. I don't know. I don't know what did it. It happened and it never stopped. You know what I mean? And them being native never affected that really. I feel like, or at least not to a point where, like, it didn't bring down my interest of keeping them. Actually, I wish I could keep our other native species. Butler's garters are one of our smallest, if not, I think they are our smallest in Ontario, and they're fucking awesome. But here comes Michael pulling up a picture. They're gonna look like it's little fat Eastern garter snake. Like they're not gonna look any different. But I think they're awesome snakes, and they're worm specialists. Which, I mean, whatever. I guess if that's your thing, if you like feeding snakes worms. But I mean, I just think they're so cool, and I haven't been able to shake it. You know, yeah. Look at those things. That thing's badass. Short-headed, little fat. But it doesn't look that much
Yeah, they're
different
almost
than an
like
Eastern
a-
garter, does it?
They look like the body shape of like, I don't know, like maybe not a smooth green, but like they have that like those like the little snakes you find in the leaves kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
they are
like garter
small.
snake.
I
It's
wouldn't have
gonna
been
get
able
big.
to tell the difference.
Yeah,
They
it's a
look
lot
like
in
an
the head.
Eastern.
Also, your scale counts are going to be different, so where the stripes start. But they are very similar looking to Easterns. They're
I thought
not,
that was a
the
ribbon
same
snake.
species. Ribbon snakes are totally separate. Those we do have ribbon snakes as well.
Don't
So
they look
ribbon
like
snakes, similar with the ribbon snakes. Look behind the eye when he pulls it
that?
up.
Okay, come
Or,
on,
sorry, in
man.
front of the
That's-
eye.
You basically
In front of
pulled up
the
the
eye.
same snake.
No, this one's skinny. You've got a nice thing in front of the eye. Your ribbon snakes,
There's
depending on the
two
species, are going to be
two lines
cream.
too. More
All right.
lines
Whereas
on
more
a ribbon.
lines.
More lines on a ribbon snake. If you
Yeah.
No, I
look
don't-
at that one. Look at that one there, and turn back the picture before that. You can tell there's almost 3 lines on this one, but the other one only had 1. You see?
Yeah.
Or-
I do not keep
And
ribbon
that
snakes.
head,
I kind of find
head
them a pain in
proportion
the ass,
is
but
definitely different.
the head proportion.
It's kind of neat though. It's really cool.
Very
like
similar.
I can see now. Like they're
Very similar.
you can tell they're like a stubby Eastern.
They are very
basically.
similar, and I don't blame Dom for saying it's like look. You might as well pull up a picture of the same snake either. I can see the difference because I've been looking at them for 20 years. But like, if you were to see Dom like in person, a ribbon snake, and then like a Butler's garter, for example, or even an Eastern garter, like in my hands, like side to side, you'd be like, okay, they are similar because they are, but there are some slight differences there. Lots of body proportions, scale counts, ribbons will be different, or things like that. Okay, narrow-headed garter snakes, Rufy punctatus. I talked about them in my garter snake episode. These things are so cool. I don't believe that they're Thamnophis. I think these things are Nerodia. And there's a couple garter snakes or water snakes that are like that. That Rufy punctatus is like that. And there's a couple other garter snake species that, can you look up the black-bellied garter, Michael?
Now you've got me wondering though, because here I see ribbon snakes all the time, but you got me wondering, am I seeing ribbon snakes or am I seeing Butler's garters?
You'll have to take a picture and.
I was
take
thinking
a
the same
close look.
thing, Dom.
But butlers are pretty small range though, right? Like they're
They are pretty. Yeah, they're not doing too good right now.
only like I guess they're still more common probably than is it Regina? The
Yeah,
Regina,
the crayfish snakes, the queen snakes. I don't
Yeah, the
see very
queen
many at
snakes.
all.
Because
Yeah,
there's
they're
like
cool
what
too.
20 in Canada maybe left.
Yeah, if we're
Those
lucky.
are cool, though.
These guys, I'm convinced that black belly garters may not be garters. They're kind of too Nerodia looking for me. Their head
Like
shape
that
just
looks
screams.
kind of more like a garter, but it's only because
Yeah, that one does. What's that third one?
Some
That just
Mexican
doesn't know what it's
black-belly.
trying to be. Mexico's also like Mexico's a hotspot of garter snake diversity. There's a lot of weird stuff going on over there.
I guess is it almost like how their ambistomas, like in terms of like you got oxalotls, the most common ambistoma you could find in the pet trade next to tiger salamanders,
Yeah.
but like each lake probably has their own ambistoma species, I think, too, or river
and that's a
system,
perfect
right?
example because
Follows
in
the
Mexico,
garters.
every lake does have its own subspecies. Like they're all different over there. And there's a lot over there that are constantly like changing whether they're in Thamnophis or something else.
No, that's
Look at that.
volcano.
Well, you'll find them in the volcanoes.
I
They're cool.
feel like there should be some map thing that just has them all, but like I guess this would be like the vague.
That's
These all broken up into different species, or
So that's
kind of
gonna that's gonna consist of all of your X species. So Thamnophis X, Thamnophis XX, Thamnophis X obscurus, which is your like Chapala garter snakes. They're all going to be in different lakes, and you can see the little highlighted dots too, like the individual ones. Those are almost certainly like Lake Chapala and all those other weird lakes.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, and then you got the common garters kind of thing. You got your
Look, we
easterns
bored
here.
Dom to death. He left us. He's like, I don't want to talk about these guys anymore.
I think he
Yeah.
froze. I thought I saw him freeze
that's-
up there.
That's what he's going to tell us.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
looking at this map, it's kind of funny. I guess I probably don't have common garters exactly where I am based on this map.
You're in Alberta? I don't know. I don't remember what you guys got.
Well,
over there.
there are some here, but because I'm in southeastern Alberta, that's probably right about there.
Yeah.
Right about where there isn't any.
But I'll say, like Dom said earlier, I thought for sure that it was illegal to keep a native species. That was always in my mind as a kid.
Yeah, there's some weird exceptions there, but for the most part, like I'm not gonna go out and collect like if I was to collect the butlers, I'd be breaking the law. A ribbon snake, I'd be breaking the law. A Lake Erie water snake, I'd be breaking the law. Sterraria, like I don't know about DK's brown
Turtles.
snakes. I'm pretty sure you can't turtle. Oh, dude, don't even say that. I'm gonna have the SWAT team break down my door if you even talk about it.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah,
love
they're
when
cool.
shady pet stores are like, well, why am I paying this much for stink potted turtles? I can just get them for
Yeah.
this much. It's like, yeah, that's illegal. You should shut up and not tell anybody.
and
Slash,
you know what
just don't
too?
do
It's I don't like I said, I don't fault you guys for thinking that at all too. Like when I love it, but I hate breeding and selling Eastern garters because when I go to sell my offspring, half of my messages are, these are illegal, right? And it's like, stop. I've done it before. Here's the law. I'm all good. Don't worry. Okay. I promise I'm not like, I love these snakes. I'm not interested in poaching. I've seen what it can do to populations. And, like, I just want people to see how awesome these snakes are. Cause it's like, but yeah, it's a very, 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 very common thought that keeping native species, including Eastern garter snakes in Ontario, is illegal. In a lot of cases, it is. Not any person can just go and collect an Eastern garter snake from outside. That's not legal. But there's ways to do it. There's ways.
It just goes to show you, like, the average person is uneducated about that kind of stuff, right? And I've probably heard it. Like, I'm in my 50s, so in the old days it was just like, oh, you don't touch your own native species, right? You were never
Yeah.
allowed to do that, right? It was just like, I don't know, it's just something that came up. Like you just never looked it up because you thought these people knew what they were talking about. They didn't really know what they were talking about, right?
And
Yeah,
you know
for
what,
sure.
man? Like that's not even necessarily their own fault because a lot of the bylaws are written out so weird, and a lot of it is like very easy to misinterpret. A lot of it is a lot of misinformation is propelled by individuals who maybe are supposed to be enforcing a lot of these bylaws or at least educating about them. People just don't know, and it doesn't surprise me at all anymore. It gets a little annoying being told I'm keeping illegal snakes all the time, but I mean, for the most part, you just ignore them and they go away, or just I send the law this specific like article of the bylaw, and I'm like, okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah, for sure. So what else do you have in that other room? So you got the cayman, you got some other like you got some Hog Island bows and stuff.
Oh, I got
Do you
this
have any?
asshole pine snake that some douchebag sent me. No, that thing's awesome. It's over there. He's starting to calm down actually. I was like,
Okay, that's good.
I had him out the other day just to do some enclosure maintenance. I was like, here we go. And I took him out and he was just like cool with it. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is weird. Yeah, so I got those guys out there. I've got lots of tokay geckos. I'm a big tokay lover. The turtles. There's some random geckos, like there's some Chahua geckos out there, and like cresties and leopards, stuff to use for programs. We got one ball python over there. The yellow anaconda is out there. A blood python, a Dumerals boa, Hog Island boa, and that's all just outreach constrictors. So I don't get bored. I can, jump between different species and different genus. God, what else is up there? Bearded dragon, just mostly outreach stuff. There's not too much out there right now, actually. And there's a few tarantulas. I keep a couple tarantulas. I did keep them for outreach, but I'm in the searching for another one because I'm really allergic to the species that I have right now, like the hares.
Is it just the New Worlds? New Worlds are kind of like that, or
no, it was
in
old
general,
world.
or
I don't know
you're
about
using
in
old
general.
worlds.
Well, I was. To be fair, I never used her for programs, but she was handleable. But so like even my New Worlds.
What was she?
She was. Oh, fuck, I don't even remember. I bought her in like 2010. I was like 10 years old. I bought her as I don't even. She was. You ever see like remember when back in the day, and this doesn't even have to go that far back, where you'd see an animal and it's just labeled something that like the pet store made out. You'll see like I don't know,
Red
like we
meat.
had these yeah, like and yeah, exactly. It was something like that.
There's
I don't know.
fucking 20 species of red meat.
I don't know what the hell this thing is, dude, but I think I bought it as like I don't know, dude. They probably had it as like a big beauty or something like that. You know what I mean? Like just this big pissed off tarantula. But I don't know what the hell she is. And honestly, like I've never kind of like cared to like investigate what she is. She's just like over there in her own little spot, does her thing, and I feed her once a week.
You should message Phil or Smitty.
Yeah,
They've been
I
getting into
should.
the spiders.
What is this thing?
You've been handling that thing, or you?
Yeah. We've got like I have Lasiodora prahibana, the Brazilian.
Oh yeah, the good old
whatever.
salmon pink. Yeah,
salmon pink. She was one of my first. And I got her as a tiny little sling. I've had her about 12 years now, and she's this monster. I used to handle her a lot, and she was actually the one that kind of I first discovered like something's wrong here. I was working at a reptile store at the time, and I would handle her when she was young, put her away, and then the next day I had like this awful, I can't remember. I've got like little pock marks on my hand from it, like scars. I had like this awful breakout of something where it was like bubbly, and like I went to the hospital for it because it was like on my thumb and my index finger here. I was like, I don't know what this is, and they were like, we don't know either. Like maybe a bacterial infection. So I was like, okay, well, I work with money in like a disgusting downtown shithole city, so maybe it is money, like handling money or something. And I was like, oh, that's gross. And then like a month later, it cleared it up. A month later, it happened again. And I was like, okay, something's up here. Because at this point, I had already moved jobs to the zoo. So I wasn't at that store anymore. And the only things that were like at the same time was me handling this tarantula. That was like 10 years ago, and I haven't handled her since. Whenever I have to do moves, I put big yellow fucking dishwasher gloves on, and I put her in like a container, and I transport her like that because it sucked, dude. I had like this big gaping hole in my hand for like months. It was awful.
Holy shit. Do you want to maybe tell the viewers about the podcast you guys started?
Yeah, I guess so. So me and my buddy Brennick host a podcast called Creature Crossing, where we kind of do what's going on right here. We just, shoot the shit and talk about animals we really like. We try to weird it up, where we had like a mosasaur guy on. We had a guy for pike on. Eventually we'll have Mike on, and just stuff like that. We're just trying to do it and try to be funny. That part's not working out so far, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no.
I got Ron St. Pierre on the next episode, so that's gonna be sweet.
I saw that post the other hour.
It's gonna be on Tuesday. I'm excited.
How long you been doing this?
About 3 months. We started in January, so we're on our 4th month now. Yeah, it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I've talked to other people about it before, and I've had like plans to do it, and then it just fell out for some reason. And then finally, I was like, you know what, like, I'm just going to do it. And then I started planning it, and then Reptile Rejects came out, and I was like, fuck. Like, now I'm just, like, going to get on the bandwagon, and I felt like an idiot. But it's been really fun, actually. I've learned a lot.
As Canadians, we're not really as well represented in the podcast game, so there's definitely room for more, I think.
Yeah. No, it's been a really, really good time. I'm happy to do it and keep doing it, and we're still finding our place, if that makes sense, like who we're trying to be with it, but it's going well so far.
Nice. Yeah, no, you guys are getting some good guests. Like, he's had Loftman on, he had Stephen Cush on. Yeah, they've had some good guests already.
I'll check you guys out.
Fun.
I'll definitely check you guys out. Cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like great guests. I mean, Dr. Loafman, and
he was great.
Ron St. Pierre, right? Like,
my favorite one we've done so far was the mosasaur one. Me and that guy just clicked really well. He was like our age, and I was a guest. I was a guest on a comedy podcast a few months prior, and then when he came into the show, he was like, "Holy shit, you were on that podcast!" And I was like, "Dude, like, yes, like I was." And so it really quickly went from like an awkward first meeting to like we just clicked like that, and it maybe helped that I kind of drank a lot during that episode, and as it progressively got louder and louder and more like, this fucking guy rocks. And that one was fun though. I had a good time doing that
one. Yeah, no, I definitely even for me, and like I'm sure it's the same with Shan and Dom, where like you get like the ones I did, like the one I did by myself, like the guest was phenomenal. He did good. I just felt like I could have been better at this point, right? Like when you start, because like I still like stutter or don't, like get the words out as nicely as I would prefer them to be, right? But then you can always, like, if you have a good guest, it always ends up.
Oh, a good guest helps for sure, dude. At the end of every episode, I sit there and I go, "God, you're a fucking idiot." Like, I'm like just so hard on myself about it. I'm like, why didn't I do this or why didn't I do that? And I'm like I said, that's more or less what I meant when I said like we're still kind of finding our spot.
Oh, there we go.
He's back. He's like, they must be done talking about garter snakes now. This must be a safe time to join back.
I was on one of the best podcasts, the first one, and man, I was nervous. That was pretty hard. Like,
yeah,
Nick Mudd. I know Nick Mudd stole the show that night, but at the end of the day, it was like, right? It's just like what to ask, kind of thing. It was like my first time. Plus, on top of that, like I said, my technology skills aren't that great. So
man,
like,
me too, man.
Make sure you put your mic off and this and that, right? And it's just like so much to think about all at the same time, you know, and you're nervous on top of that. So yeah, definitely a little smoother now, but
yeah.
I'm
Well,
still...
like I said, when I guest spotted on that comedy podcast, it was my first time doing anything like it, and I was like a fan of these guys, so I was really, really stressing about it, and I totally like had technological malfunctions the entire time. We had to restart like 4 times. And there, like, thankfully the editor was just, who's like a professional editor, was able to put together like an almost 2-hour show and make it look like we didn't have any issues. There was like 4 times where we were like, no, I got to figure out how to like clear my cache on my laptop and stuff. And so that was filmed in, I want to say like November or maybe the month before of just this past one there. So not long ago. And after that, I was like, go to Amazon, go to Best Buy or whatever, and I just bought everything because I knew I wanted to start a show soon, and it was already being planned. Probably by, I think we probably started planning by like July that year, or I did. I went through a couple like co-host options before I ended up on who I ended up on, but it was like I sat there after we were done recording, and I just felt like the biggest ass. Like it felt like I just screwed the pooch on everything, and it ended up being a good episode, thankfully. And then the one we just recorded a second one with the same guys, and it was so much fun. And I had a good equipment, and we were able to just go for like, they had to cut almost 2 hours out because we just went, and it was awesome. But it definitely gets easier. And actually, you guys can't see it. My computer is totally torn apart right now because when we recorded with Ron, I had a total, like, my computer just shut down, and I had to like remove pieces. My brother was like on the phone, remove this piece out and then replace it with this, and I'm like, what the hell's going? I'm like doing surgery on this thing, and I don't even know how to make my phone work half the time, like. And so it's like sitting there beside me, it looks like Frankenstein's monster or something. And I'm like laptop shopping on the side because I'm like, I don't want to get a PC again. I'd rather just get a nice laptop. And
yeah,
I can't
well,
stand tech.
I'm just using a Surface that's actually not too bad, but I'm able to have like a second monitor kind of thing if I can.
Oh, cool.
Show here. But
Maybe
yeah.
I should do that. Maybe I could do that with the laptop, and I got a monitor right here.
Yeah, I wish the monitor was right behind it, but the way my desk is kind of small, so I have it like on the side here, so it gives me a bit of light when it gets dark out. Yeah.
Hey Dom, how you doing, buddy?
I'm back. Do you guys even want to know what happened?
Sure.
Yeah, I do.
So the stupid cat keeps biting all the wires, right? So I have to put blankets on top of all the wires so they're all hidden. But if you put like the puck of the puck of the charger under a blanket, it starts heating up, and it heated up so much that it stopped charging the laptop without me noticing, and my computer is old as fuck. So it basically has no charge. So as soon as it stopped charging, computer died, and then I couldn't charge it back up because now the charger was too warm. So I had to put the charger in the freezer for about 5 minutes to get it cold enough to be able to reboot my computer.
That fits perfectly into our tech issues conversation we were having.
It's one of those things. Like, yeah, that's all good.
Gotta love doing the podcast stuff.
Getting your cat's teeth removed. That's what I did.
I don't think I'm at that point. I considered removing the nails because we're the only province that's still legal to remove them, but to declaw them. But I decided not to.
I'm a cat guy. I love cats too. Sorry, Shan. I saw you say don't get a cat.
I'm like,
don't get
I'm
me
more
wrong.
of a dog person too.
Don't get me wrong. I've had lots of cats, lots of dogs when I was younger, but now I have all kinds of snakes, and it's just a lot of work. And I know if I get a cat, I'm going to be the one that has to clean the litter box on top of everything else. I'm like, no, done that.
It's funny. I'd rather do about 4.5 hours of Nerodia and garter snake shits than like 10 minutes of changing the litter box.
Dom's still in the kitten stage.
Well, no, I've had cats all my life. Like, to me, changing the litter box takes literally like 30 seconds once every 4 days.
Right. Like, I still don't want to do it though.
We're all people that are complaining about that, but then you're gonna go clean your snakes for 3 hours, pick up shit. You probably pick up the shit directly with your hands and not even give a shit because you're so used to it. And yet,
And if my hands are full, I'll use my mouth or my toes. I don't fucking care.
I won't comment on that one.
So I try to wrap it in the paper. It's like the way to do it. No.
Yeah,
I
but
mean-
you get shit on your hands all the time. Like I'm
If
just
it's
saying that
dried,
exactly
it's
the
dried,
fact
it's
that
just
you
like a nugget. Come on.
the fact that you justify having shit on your hands if it's dry, it's okay, is a problem.
It's just you just pick it up and you throw it in the garbage, right? And then you go
Okay.
wash your hands. And then you go wash your hands.
This is like the worst story like I've ever told. I've never told anybody this. It's probably not even that bad, but like I just remembered it now. You know how like when you're like a kid, you think like weird shit's cool. Like that guy would do that. One of my first lizards, I had a bearded dragon. Right, I was like 4 or 5 when I got this thing, and I remember watching the Crocodile Hunter movie, and in that movie, one of the opening scenes, he is chasing a parenti, and he misses the parenti or whatever, and he finds like its cave that it lives in, and he finds parenti shit. And so he's like picking it up with his hands. He's like, oh, I'm gonna take this back to the fucking zoo for some reason. And he like puts it in his pocket. And me as a kid, I'm sitting there, I'm like, that's what crazy outside reptile guys do. So I had like moved my underwear drawer with my shirts, and my top drawer had like a collection of like dried bearded dragon shit for like 6 months until my parents opened, and there was like shed skin in there too, of course, right? And then my parents open it and they're like, okay, rule number 1, we throw out the lizard shit. And I never kept a lizard shit again after that. But that is like I haven't thought about that probably since I got in trouble for it.
Okay, that's a really great story. I'm not sure I would share it, but I think it's a really, really fucking good story.
I just wish I shared it on my show.
That's a fantastic story just to throw on a random guest.
Yeah.
Puts a new meaning to go clean your room.
Yeah, exactly. I was a boy. We all do stuff like that, right, guys? Yeah.
Oh, we all do stupid things.
Yeah,
I'll
for
give
sure.
you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. God.
Awesome.
You wouldn't catch
So,
me doing that with a cat, though.
Did you guys talk about Creatures Corner or not at all? Creatures Crossing, sorry.
Yeah, a little bit. Did you have any questions?
I was just more wondering, like it's a herping show, right?
Yeah, for the most part, we get weird with it sometimes. So like we've had like a guy with for mosasaurs on and pike, like fish. Like we've had some weirdos on, but for the most part, it's a herp show where I'll be like, yeah, I want a guy on or a girl on who studies like vultures or something, like just a random episode here and there. But yeah, for the most part.
Cool. I've heard about it. I'll be honest with you, I haven't listened to it yet, just because I have probably too many podcasts. Just like our podcast is just another podcast of the thousands of podcasts, right? That there are now. Like
it's crazy.
So, and I think it's a great thing. I just think it's, you start being selective, right? You're like, oh, I don't like this guy. This guy knows me, so you just remove him off your list and all that. So
yeah.
I have not listened to yours yet, but now that I've met you, I probably will have to.
Yes, Ron St. Pierre coming on for
the
Tuesday release.
That episode's coming out. That was cool too. We talked about blue tongues for a little bit, and then I was very quickly like, I tried to push that away, and I was like, now tell me about your tokays and your anoles. We talked about tokays and anoles for like an hour and a half. And like old school herp stuff, like him when he was a kid, a lot of his herping stories from when he was a kid and stuff. So it was a pretty cool episode.
Yeah.
And then we ended the episode by like, I got him to, because we're both big metalheads. Actually, all three of us are. My co-host is too. So we talked for like the last 10 minutes about new like metal albums coming out and what we've been listening to and stuff. So like we try to just throw something weird in every now and then like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like when we had him on, we were able to like pull some different stuff out from what he said on like Dave Levinson's show that he did with him and Heather, and obviously the Project Herp shows. Man, you need to get Phil on. You and Phil Leeds.
Yeah, you told me that.
I fucking love that guy. That guy's like
tough,
fantastic.
man. Like,
we still need to have him on again just to actually talk Euros. I think we just talked philosophy the first show.
I remember hearing that episode. I messaged you about that episode. I remember listening to it, and I sent you a message like, God damn, like
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
that
he's
Smitty?
awesome.
Is that
No,
Smitty?
Philip Leitz, the Arids only, the Project Herpetoculture guy. He did it with Roy back now because I think he had Ron on like 4 or 5 times. I think
It's tough when you get those big guys like Ron to like talk about something different. You know what I mean? Because like everybody wants to know a lot of the same stuff, and your instinct is to go to the biggest thing that they're working on. In Ron's case, like blue tongues and stuff right now, and his enclosures. And so to like it's really tough for me to try and think like proactively think like I need to get into something else. You know what I mean? Or else somebody's gonna like click on an episode. And yeah, you know, like in my case, I'll still listen to those episodes that have had the same guys on and talk about the same stuff. 90% of the time you'll get new stuff out of it. But a lot of the time it'll be like 5 or 10% of the conversation will be new stuff, and the rest is like stuff from other episodes because everybody's asking the same questions, right? And that's
exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I'd like to try and be like a little different to try and stick out. You know what I mean? Like it's a very like you said, there's a lot of reptile podcasts out there, and a lot of them are interviewing the same guys because despite there being a lot of this kind of thing, it's still a very niche hobby. So you hear a lot of the same voices and you hear a lot of the same things, and to try and break out of that, that's one of the reasons why we have we had like a pike guy on. Nobody has a pike fish episode that's not a fishing episode.
How did Shan message you after that one?
No,
I think Sean's used to be like some sort of pike fisherman guy.
So, and that's one of the things I wanted to do with that too, is I didn't want it to be about fishing, so I pushed right away from that too.
So I feel like you have. Oh, go ahead, Dom.
No, go for it, Shan.
Just to touch about that, I just feel like people that do podcasts. So I'll compliment you, Dom. You got a good flow when it comes to talking. Adam, Seth,
say,
yeah,
Shy.
Yeah. Anyway,
we'll have to ask him when we finally get
podcast, right? I really think he's got a good flow, and it's all about asking the right questions. Like that's what you were hitting on, Brayden. Like it's being different, trying to be different, and trying to find different questions to ask that person to break them out of that the same questions of every same podcast, right? Because it's very similar, like you said.
Yeah, and it's tough too because like, you know, I always say before every episode, like, because I have a long time to prep between episodes, and so because we are on a bi-weekly schedule, and so I'm always like, I'll make notes. I don't fucking make notes. Like my notes for Ron St. Pierre was tokay geckos. I would have brought that up if I didn't have it written down. You know what I mean? Like I'm just so coming up with stuff on the spot can be tough, and trying like to think on my feet too sometimes doesn't work too. In the case of, and maybe I'm wrong about this, and it was just us talking for the first time when we had Stephen Cush on. I'm pretty sure the first, like before we recorded, I think I weirded him out a little bit because I was kind of like joking with him a little bit, and I don't think he realized what I was doing. So I quickly was just like, okay, I'm going to drop that for now until we get into it a little bit. And but it ended up being an awesome episode. I had a lot of fun, and Stephen was a great guy and warmed up to it for sure. But I think the first 5 minutes he was kind of like, is this guy weird? Like, is this guy crazy?
Yeah, he's pretty good. So, God damn it, I always forget. Man, I hate it when I start a conversation. I already forget what the heck I was going to say. Okay, there you go. So you're big into tokays. Have you ever had the girl from Ontario on? Her name is Tetrapod Exotics. Do you know her?
Laura.
The name sounds familiar, but I don't think I know her personally.
Okay, because she's really, really big into tokays and Europlatus and other things like that. On Instagram, Tetrapod Exotics. She's in Ontario. She's like a doctor for humans and things like that, but she does that on the side, and it's she's like she impresses me. So it might be a guest that you'd like. I mean, we could have her on too, but I know shit about tokays. I'd be like, yeah, those little sticky ones. I mean, they're cool.
The mean angry ones.
We were able to get a little bit of tokay stuff out of Ron too, and I forget if we asked Ty about tokays. because Ty has a few groups of tokays now too. They seem to be like that one that like the hardcore kind of keepers. Like they seem to always have like a couple tanks of tokays kind of thing.
They're like one of the classics, right? And tokays are fun too. I got into them right before they got on CITES. And so it was a really weird transition for me because when I got into them, I was selling tokays when I first started breeding for 25 a piece. And I was, occasionally I would have a hard time selling them. And then within like 6 months, all of a sudden I'm selling them for 50, and then I'm selling out, then I'm selling them for 100, I'm selling out, then 150, and that's where I stopped. But like the going rate for tokays in Ontario now is like $200+.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, Ty has them listed for $250, I think.
I remember selling them for $25.
To me,
That's
they're like
crazy.
a $10 gecko.
That's
They
crazy.
were. I remember
Right?
importing them $665. That's what I would pay for tokays, and it's not like that anymore. And it's
So-
for me, like it's weird.
Back in the day when I used to work at the pet store, those were dirt cheap. Like
Yep.
dirt cheap. So
Yeah.
cheap.
I think I told the
Yeah.
story before, but we had like a group of like 1.4 tokays at the zoo, and they would put eggs everywhere, and we'd have babies hatching and coming out, and we'd have to catch them on the cages all the time, and then we'd put them all in separate containers and pick them up all the time, and they would become our outreach pets, and we'd bring tokays to every show that have been tamed down, and it was insane. Like those things would produce babies. There was new eggs every week with 4 females in there. It was nonstop. It was
Yeah, they're crazy. I'm really lucky with I have my oldest pair is coming up to 15 years now, and they've been together for the last 10 or so, and they're really cool because once I get 8 eggs, she's like, nope, I'm done for the year, and then they won't breed, and then the next year comes around, 8 eggs, then she's done next year, and it's been like that for 10 years now. She took a year off when we moved, and then she went right back to 8 eggs a year, 8 eggs a year, 8 eggs a year, and then she stops.
And how long between her eggs? Like a month?
Yeah, maybe
Even less?
Yeah. Yeah, about 3 weeks probably.
Usually like a younger female, would she be having eggs all year round, or
She's done that since she was like 2 years old.
okay, but is that the normal?
I don't think so. I think they don't necessarily have a normal range perhaps, but they seem very, when you have them on, it's kind of hard to tell when you have a big group of tokay geckos in a large enclosure together, but when you have them in individual pairs, it becomes very obvious very quickly from my experience of breeding with them that in some cases, like, and so in the case of my pair, she's in charge. Like she's clearly dominant over him, and he's huge. Like he's pushing a foot long. She's very small. She's quite a small for a female. She's clearly dominant, and she's much more defensive than he is, even like, but not honestly. Like I always use defensive instead of aggressive because I don't like that word. She's aggressive. Like she's like gonna come out at me and actively try to get me. But like. I don't know, like the norm. I don't think it is the norm. No, for the most part, I think they can have their own quirks per pair, per individual. But I genuinely think that they have enough. Like, I don't know, even know if intelligence is the right word, but she's capable of going like, we're done for the year. Like it's how she's always done it, and then he will leave her alone, and then come the next time, like around now, he'll probably start in the next few weeks. Around this time of the year, April or so, he'll start calling again. And then I know to expect the 8 eggs. And then I get no calls for the next 9 months. And then it restarts again. Like, and I had the same experience. I had gecko Smith Eye, the Smith's green-eyed geckos. I was breeding them for a while. And I had the same experience with them, except my male was more dominant. And he called the shots. And I don't know, they're cool lizards. And when you have them in a situation where you can kind of watch them as individuals, you see some weird stuff. There's cool videos out there of males. I mean, there's one that went kind of semi-viral recently where the male bit, or a female bit, the eggshell to help a baby out of the egg, and it was very, very cool. And then I've seen males use their back 2 foot pads to shape the freshly laid eggs into circles. And there's also some thought that maybe the texture on the bottom of their feet helps with hydrophobia for the eggshells or something like that. I don't know if there's any work looking into that, but it's just something I've heard. But yeah, males are a big part of it too, and they're just a cool gecko that kind of similar to garter snakes, is almost overlooked in a way because they were so common, and they are fairly common still, but not nearly as common as they used to be.
Yeah, and eventually, I think we'll probably get morphs up here at some point.
I think
There's
so.
many-
I think so. There's some.
They'll slowly-
We do have powder blues up here. We do have the granites. I'm not sure exactly how common they are these days. Powder blues were.
I just thought
around.
everything was possible het granite.
I know.
You always see that label on everything, and you're like, or is anything
That's
actually
like the meme now. Yeah, Cody was doing the granites for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Cody was.
Because he
So,
still
as
has
for-
his tokays, right? Yeah, we'll need to
From
have
what
him
I
on at
understand,
some
he's still
point.
producing a little bit. I think he's
Yeah.
producing still. I don't know. I didn't even know he got rid of his Chapalas. He was supposed to let me know.
I was surprised too. He's like he's getting rid of his rosies. It's like, what the hell, Jay? Supposed to
Yeah.
tell us this stuff.
I tell him all the time, like, how the Chapalas doing. I think I told him, like, asked him like 2 months ago. I was like, how are they doing? He's like, good. I think this will be the year. Cody, I'm gonna message him now tonight.
Yeah, I saw them the other day at Ty's shop.
Chapalas are everywhere. I'll find them somewhere else. It's fine.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any more questions? Because I'm gonna have to go ahead to bed pretty soon. I say it every single podcast. I work at 4 tomorrow, so
Damn.
It's all good. I think it was
I
actually
work
a pretty
at 5, and I was at work for 5 today, so I feel you.
yeah. No, I totally get it. I think that was a fantastic show, though. I think it was like a nice little general chit chat to start off, and then we got a guest. So that was.
I've been working
that
for the
went pretty
past
well.
2 weeks on my notes and on what I would ask Brayden when he came on, so I was ready.
Yeah, and then you disappeared I assumed you left because we were talking about garter snakes. That's what was my guess. Is you're like, this is a perfect time for me to have some wire overheating issues and have to put it into a freezer for 15
I mean,
minutes.
might have been the real reason. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, though. I really do appreciate it. It's cool. We have not had a garter neurodia person ever, so
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I guess
that's my-
Waffman a touch.
He likes
Yeah,
his
I guess so.
neurodia. He likes his
He likes his
neurodia. We talked
neurodia.
about it a lot when I had him on.
he barely
Yeah.
talked about his neurodia last time, though.
Yeah, I think we were talking more like snake digestion and stuff like that. I think, and
Which
probably
is way
pine snakes.
Yeah, which is way cooler. I appreciate you guys having me on as a last second shoe-in.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no worries, man.
That was
Do
great.
you want to tell everybody how to get a hold of you there, Brayden?
Yeah, you could check out Creature Crossing on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram is where I'm mostly operating. If you find my Facebook there too, but I don't mind. That's it.
Awesome. I'll leave it in the show notes, and then I'll.
Sweet.
I forgot to say it at the beginning, but I think I'll just make myself like a clip that I can plug in for when I forget. But we are proudly sponsored by Cornell's World, one of North America's leaders in caging for reptiles and amphibians, from PVC cages, like custom PVC cages and standard PVC cages and racks, to glass terrariums. Cornell's World basically has everything you need for your reptiles, including thermostats and cleaning supplies. So yeah, go check out cornellsworld.com, and also check out wcre.ca to go book your tickets for the upcoming Western Canadian Reptile Expo in Calgary at the Acadia Rec Center, April 18th and 19th. Go get your tickets now at wcre.ca. Alrighty, Dom. And Shan,
Good job.
you can say your stuff.
Yeah, so sorry, muting problem. So Shan Melanson at Facebook or Instagram. Just my name. Shoot me a message anytime, or want to talk snakes. I love doing that. So yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Show
worries.
Shan your snakes. Show Shan your snakes.
Whoa. We don't want that, because, might have somebody else show me something we don't want.
Nice.
Got to specify.
Michael, I think you forgot about our new sponsor. I've been discussing with Julander, and he told us that he might be able to get us sponsored by the mutton training gloves or mutton.
Oh
fighting
yeah,
gloves.
The
is it
mutton
called?
powerlifting gloves.
There you go, mutton powerlifting gloves. So we're not officially sponsored by them, but we're trying to see if Julander will let us use that too, because I freaking love that. To me, that's a great sponsor. You know, powerlifting gloves for mutton. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. Shan looks confused. He's like, "What the fuck are they?" You've never heard him say that?
It's the Reptile Fight Club's like joke for the.
It's always we're sponsored by the mutton powerlifting gloves.
Because I think
it's
Nick's old, like because you know how Nick is, right? He likes to say his opinions, so he has his old. I think back in the MP forums for Morelia pythons, his character was literally like a guy punching, so everybody was afraid of him in real life.
So that's the podcast I have to listen to a whole lot more. As
Fight Club,
the Fight Club one.
With Zoolander and Bobby Pebbles.
I've listened to one or two of them, but I haven't really listened to a lot of them. So,
yeah, I listen to them all, but you can always pick through them. There's some they did one with Alan Rapace and Ron St. Pierre. That was a fantastic one a year and a half
there's
ago.
Tons
probably.
With really good guests. It's one of those
tons.
Ones.
Yeah, you can.
That's awesome.
Cherry pick them or just go through them all.
All right, well. I'm going to have to end it or else we're just going to keep talking forever. Brayden, again, thank you for coming on. Shan, appreciate you. Michael, well, it's always Michael. You're still good. And to everybody else, thanks for joining us. Thanks for hopping on. Subscribe on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, or if you do like Amazon Music like Shan, which is so weird to listen to your podcast from, go for it as well. To everybody else, thank you. And sorry, Shan, what was that?
My wife sets me up with all that kind of stuff. Come on, you know that stuff. She's the tech savvy person, right? In the
she uses
relationship.
Amazon.